World on myjoyonline.com. My name is Fostina. Sarfo. Tonight, Bank of Ghana expected to announce a 15 billion Ghana cedis loss for 2025, with the NDC Majority already justifying it as the cost of stabilizing the economy. We have details which are emerging, pointing to the central bank's domestic gold purchase program as a major driver of the loss. Also tonight, 2 kindergarten girls of Ofuman Methodist Basic School battling for their lives after their classroom block collapsed during heavy rains. We're live in the community for details. Also coming up, President John Dramani Mahama says government will replace the damaged facility at the Akosombo GRIDCo substation with a more modern control room. In business,
multimedia group set to roll out a mega May Day egg sales tomorrow, promising unbeatable prices. We shall be telling you more.
And in sports,
well, government raises over $14 million as they ramp up efforts to raise some $30 million to support the Black Stars for the World Cup.
Remember, we are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Please stay for details. Thanks for choosing us. Tonight, 2 kindergarten girls of Ofuman Methodist Basic School in the Bono East region are critically battling for their lives at the Techiman Holy Family Hospital after their classroom block collapsed during heavy rains. A parent is also receiving treatment at the facility. 7 children were injured in the incident, while 4 have since been treated and discharged. The collapse is raising fresh concerns about the safety of school infrastructure during extreme weather. And Asabit reports.
It was supposed to be just another school day, but when torrential rains tore through Ofuman Methodist Basic School, a classroom became a tomb of twisted metal and mud. This is all that remains of a classroom that once echoed with nursery rhymes and laughter. It collapsed without warning, caught in the fierce grip of seasonal rains. Now it's a scene no parent in Ofuman will ever forget.
I
was on my way from the farm when I met the incident after heavy winds ripped off the building. I saw some of the children injured, but I couldn't help because I don't have the strength to do so. So we cried and shouted for help. Then people came around to help, but what happened yesterday is heartbreaking. When I got here, all the people I met were panicking and shocked because we've never seen something like this before. Then there's the teacher. She was inside when it happened. We went in when we noticed it was getting windy, but the heavy winds later blew off the entire roofing of the building, and so we tried moving the kids to a different block. That was when the building collapsed inside. The child who was affected was sleeping then, and the lady who came for her child was also sleeping on a chair whilst covering her child. Right now, 3 victims lie in admission at the Techiman Holy Family Hospital. 2 kindergarten girls and 1 parent who rushed in to help. Emergency nurse in charge Abigail says they are stable but still under observation.
We received 3 victims from the building collapse at Ofuman, and 2 children and then 1 parent. But I think currently they are all fairly stable, although 1 is at red, but then she's also doing well.
District NADMO Director Adamu Mohammed arrived at the scene hours after the collapse.
And also took about 60 students are now displaced because where they are having their education is totally down. Some other households with their roofs also off, making them displaced persons.
The assemblyman for the area has been moving between the hospital and the collapsed school. He's now making a direct appeal for the construction of a proper school building to replace the wretched one. We want to appeal to authorities to come to the school's aid. All the buildings here are weak because they are old structures that are being maintained by the school to accommodate the kids. As the rains intensify, the assemblyman in NADMO warned that without swift action, this won't be the last collapse. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Ufuma.
Joining me now is the NADMO Director for Techiman North, Adamu Mohammed, and he would be giving us details as to how they plan to ensure safety of the 60 pupils they tell us are displaced. We'll bring you that conversation once we have him on the line. I understand that we're facing some challenges getting him. Now I'm told I have clear connection to Mr. Mohammed. Mr. Mohammed, what is NADMO's plan to ensure the safety of the pupils?
Thank you very much, and good evening to our viewers and listeners across the globe. The unfortunate incident happened, and today, as we speak now, our casualties are the Holy Family Hospital. Thankfully, now they are receiving treatment. The DC, Robert Johnson, on behalf of the Member of Parliament, visited them this afternoon, and they are in stable condition. If you are talking about how we are making sure that our people are safe in Techiman North, we have started the disaster risk reduction exercise a long time ago, about 2 months ago, whereby we identify what dilapidated buildings and marking them as areas that people should not see.
And this particular facility, was it marked as one of the dilapidated structures? If it was, why indeed were people still in that classroom as at when the heavy rains came?
Unfortunately, it was not marked. We have started from Asuye, Mesidine, Boyem, and as at last today, we're supposed to go to Chobodom, and the incident happened. So since I took office, this edifice has not been marked, and there were plans that we're moving zonally to look at that. It has not been marked as of now.
So, seeing how urgent it is, what is your plan for other structures within the region that you haven't visited yet?
I've just instructed all my zonal coordinators, and we are doing that as soon as practicable. And we're also liaising with the assembly so that to trigger the bylaws that if they refuse to pull them down or to renovate them, the necessary actions will be taken against them.
You agree with me that soon as practicable is not a timeline? Can I get a specific timeline? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month?
Hello?
Mr. Adamu, can I get a specific timeline as to when you'll be visiting the other areas and ensuring that you earmark all the buildings that are faulty or dilapidated?
Within 1 month.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Well, away from that, the Bank of Ghana is tonight expected to announce a 15 billion cedis loss for the 2025 financial year. That is according to the majority in Parliament, who have been speaking to the central bank's financial position even before the official publication. When it becomes official, it will be the second largest loss since 2008. James Aveji has more in the following report.
The central bank's expected 15 billion Ghana cedis loss represents a 68% jump from the 9.4 billion cedis recorded in 2024. But even before the official report is released, the majority in Parliament is stepping in to defend the bank, blaming the loss on open market operations, foreign exchange pressures, and the domestic gold exchange program. Ataisa is member of the Finance Committee of Parliament.
The bank reported a net cost, or to some people, loss for 2025 of 15.6 billion Ghana cedis compared to a loss of 9.4 billion Ghana cedis in 2024. Other comprehensive income recorded a charge of 19.32 billion, reflecting the impact of a stronger cedi on the cedi value of the bank foreign reserves. I'll take time and explain them. The net equity position of the bank stood at negative 61.3 billion as at the end of 2024, down from a positive 1.2 billion compared to a negative equity of 35 billion as at the end of 2025, cumulatively bringing the net equity position of the bank to about 96.3 billion. This simply means that as at the time President Mahama assumed office, The total negative equity position of Bank of Ghana was 61.3 billion. Meanwhile, as of 2021, we had a positive net equity of 1.2 billion Ghana cedis. These numbers reflect the cost of work that was done. What have we achieved to see these costs over the past 1 year? Ghana's economy has been transformed. Inflation has fallen from 23.8% as at the end of 2024 to 5.4% by the end of 2025, and to 3.2% by March of this year, the 15th consecutive month of decline. For the woman buying tomato at the market, that means the price of a basket of food is stable and not increasing drastically as it did a year ago. For the family paying school fees, electricity, and hospital costs, the stability is real.
He also cited Gold Board's transaction cost of 9 billion Ghana cedis as a major part of the cost, as a major part of the loss, but believes the situation will be better in 2026 when the cost of domestic gold dealings is taken off the book of the BOG.
On 26 February 2026, this parliament passed the Ghana Accelerated National Reserve, GHS15. Under the new policy framework, off-takers pre-finance the gold program and the Ministry of Finance allocates the budget. The accounting effect that drove the $9 billion under the gold purchase program in 2025 will not follow through the bank's books in the foreseen years.
Overall, the majority argue that the over 15 billion Ghana cedis loss is a good cause for Ghana's current stable economy of low inflation and cedi exchange rate and the low cost of doing business.
The message to Ghanaians is this afternoon. The financial results that was released today reflect the work that was required to restore stability of our country. The work has been done, inflation is down, the cedi is stronger, reserves are at record lows, lending rates are coming down, public debt is lower, economy is growing, confidence is back. The institutions responsible for stability remain sound and fully capable of doing their job.
From Parliament House in Accra, I am James Savaji for Joy News.
A member of our research desk here at Joy News, Caleb Ziblim, joins me with a breakdown of what we know. Caleb, how significant is this loss?
Yes, Fostina. So if you can look at the chart on the screen, you can see that 2025, and if we have to take the words of the majority as a fact, because the actual reports have not yet been released on the Bank of Ghana's website. But then we know that the majority is speaking from a place of authority because they have direct relations with the Bank of Ghana and the Ministry of Finance. So we are assuming that the figures released by the majority today during a press conference is accurate. And if we take their word for it, if you can see from the graph, since 2008, that's when the cedi was changed a bit. From 2008 to 2025, this is the second highest loss that we are recording for the Bank of Ghana. The highest loss came in 2022 at the peak of Ghana's economic crisis, where the bank made a loss of 60.8 billion Ghana cedis in 2022. That loss then became better in 2023 by reducing from 60 to 13 billion, then reduced further again in 2024 to 9.3 billion Ghana cedis. But then in 2025, just this last year, we've seen the reversal of the reduction in losses now to an increase by over 60%, about 68% increments from the 2024 loss of 9 billion to 15.6 billion in 2025. So again, this is the highest loss that we've seen from the Bank of Ghana since at least 2008, and that's when the cedi was changed a bit. And then the next question is why or how did the Bank of Ghana make this loss? And we'll get to that in the next slide. How did the Bank of Ghana make this loss? And that's what people are asking. To understand how the bank made the loss, the bank operates an open market operation. So when inflation rate was high at a point, when the new BOG administration came in, the inflation rate was about 20%, give or take. So to reduce inflation, from the bank's point of view, they thought inflation was more supply-driven. That means there's so much money in the economy. And for the bank to reduce the money in the economy, they have to take the money from commercial banks. And when you take money from commercial banks, you're effectively borrowing the money from them. And the BOG, you have to pay the commercial banks interest for any money they take from them. So a chunk of the cost for the BOG was open market operations. And the BOG made a loss here of about 16 billion Ghana cedis. So they spent 16 billion Ghana cedis taking out money from the economy. That's very basic understanding of that. The next loss item was the gold purchase program. Now, this is what the Bank of Ghana does in partnership with the Ghana Gold Board. And we had somewhere in September last year when the IMF revealed that the loss with the BOG and the Gold Board was about 2 billion Ghana cedis. At the end of the year, the BOG is now posting a loss at 9 billion Ghana cedis. And we see this loss because when Gold Board goes to buy gold from our small-scale miners, they pay them either spot prices or premium prices, which means they are paying more for the actual price of the gold. But then when we sell gold on the international market to our off-takers, because Ghana's gold is, we can't trade the gold and it's not refined and all of that, we have to take discounts on the gold. So we buy the gold at a higher price and sell it at a cheaper price. And so if you do the math, there's always going to be a loss. And according to the majority today, that loss was 9 billion in 2025. So these two main cost items are what led the bank to see this loss in 2025. Finally, the exchange rate losses. Now, because the cedi appreciated by 40% last year, the Bank of Ghana also has some of its assets in dollars. The bank invests in some banks in the US and other countries. So when the value of those assets are now converted back to cedis, because your exchange rate has now done well, your cedi has appreciated, you're going to get less cedis when you convert it back to the Ghana cedi. And this also contributed to some loss. But then for the direct losses, it came from the open markets operations, where the BOG spent about 17 billion Ghana cedis. And then from the gold purchase program with Gold Board, where the BOG lost about 9 billion Ghana cedis. So this is what put the Bank of Ghana in that situation.
Thank you so much, Caleb. Well, joining me now is Kojo Nkrumah. He is a member of the Economic and Development Committee in Parliament. We appreciate your time here on JoyNews Prime. I'd like to start with your initial reaction. The majority held a news conference giving us the revelation that the Bank of Ghana made a staggering 15 billion cedis loss for the year 2025.
Earlier this evening on your radio, and good evening to your viewers. Earlier this evening on your radio, I asked whether Joy News had seen a copy of the audited accounts. We were told that the accounts have been posted on the Bank of Ghana's website. We were told by the Honorable Ataisa, who addressed the press conference. I'm looking at the Bank of Ghana's website as I speak to you. It is not true. They have still not released the results. And so for the first time in the history of Ghana, 70 years into our independence, the Bank of Ghana has not released its annual audited accounts, but the majority side in Parliament is doing a press conference to spin a narrative around it. And that must be a red flag to anybody who is following this, that they are in an exercise just to do propaganda and hide the real developments that are going on. What has happened? They've made a loss of 15 billion. 2 years ago, when a loss of about 10 billion, I heard your colleague saying 13. When I'm checking my data, it's about 10. About 10 billion 2 years ago, the then minority, now majority, said that it amounted to mismanagement of the central bank. In fact, then candidate Mahama, now President Mahama, used the words criminally mismanaged. They called for the resignation of Governor Addison at the time because they had made a loss of 10 billion. Today, they have made a loss of 15 billion Ghana cedis. How should we all describe what has happened? But put that aside and go into the
this is not the first time we're making this quantum of loss. In fact, the first time we had over 60 billion was in 2022.
At 10 billion loss, they said it was criminally mismanaged and the governor should resign. At 15 billion loss, what should we say?
What is the minority saying?
I'm sure even a class 5 pupil will be able to extrapolate that if at 10 billion loss, it's criminally mismanaged and the governor should resign. At 15 billion, what has happened? But let's even get into the details. Why have they made this loss? And I heard your colleague speak about the top two items. First is the cost of the sterilization program. If you will recall, I addressed the press conference in 2025 and alerted the country that what they were doing was sterilization. At the time, about 62 billion. And we followed the numbers and kept warning that that sterilization was not at zero cost. And it was going to come at a huge cost to the books of the central bank. They literally insulted us and said, we don't understand economics. Today, they come back and then tell you that it is as a result of the open market operations arm of the sterilization that they've made about 16 billion of losses on their books. But it beggars belief that at the time they were doing it and their attention was being drawn, that there's a reason for which central banks all over the world balance a bit of sterilization with tight monetary policy. And that if you decide that you're going to go down on monetary policy and rather open up on sterilization, the cost will be sitting on the central bank. They called us all sorts of names, ignored it, and now are telling us that that is the reason for which they have made losses. In fact, in their press conference, they say lower cost of sterilization, lower impact, and that higher cost, higher impact. And that because they were able to, or they have spent more on sterilization, they should be applauded. Then
so is the minority pushing for the Bank of Ghana governor to resign?
We haven't said that. I'm just taking you back to the facts. And I think sometimes when developments happen, we don't take time to go through what has happened. The first thing is the sterilization, which they denied. And now they are coming to use as an excuse. Second, you will recall again that we told everybody in this country, including the government, that the way they have restructured the domestic gold purchase program, and they are not buying it from the big gold sellers, they are buying it through Gold Board, they are making losses, and that Parliament needed to investigate these losses, find out how they have been occasioned, and come up with remediation plans. Because of politics, they blocked it. They won't even let Parliament investigate so that we could find remediation plans. Today, now they come back and tell you one day before Bank of Ghana, they come and tell you that Gold Board has made profit of 900 million. But if you look in the books, they have a debt of about 3.7 billion owed the Bank of Ghana. Then a day after, they don't release the Bank of Ghana results. They rather send the majority to come and tell you that the Bank of Ghana has made profit of, the Bank of Ghana has made a loss.
Okay.
And if you look into that loss that the Bank of Ghana has made, they are admitting that about 9 billion Ghana cedis of gold transaction costs have contributed to their loss. So the first thing that the majority side needs to do is to stop doing the propaganda on behalf of government.
Okay.
And to have the humility to admit that the major things that the minority warned about, which they refused to pay attention to, are manifesting. And then we can have an opportunity to examine what are the remediation measures we need to take going forward. Again, they are still doing propaganda by telling you that they have stopped the financing of the gold purchase program.
Okay.
And so you won't see it in the But we can tell you where they have moved the cost and where they are going to hide it in their next accounts.
Okay.
And then they are also telling you that they are no longer going to be doing open market operations or sterilization to this extent. But what the situation is that we are clear in our minds that as of now, they have done more sterilization than they did the previous year.
Thank you so much, Kojo. And we have to let you go. Our greetings to your son. Well, let me bring in Professor William Pepra. He's an economist. What does it mean for the economy if the Bank of Ghana keep recording losses?
This is very clear, as Kojo has mentioned. I'll put it this way. We see a policy constraint and policy unalignment. We see a heavy hand of political interference, which affects Bank of Ghana's independence when you see this particular loss. To all of us in Ghana, what this is telling us is about the credibility of our central bank and whether our central bank is in a position to ensure and also focus on this key mandate, which is the stability that we have been talking about, which is the financial or economic stability. So once we've seen that our equity, the central bank has a negative equity, it is a major concern. We may all parties may have to come back to the table and ask ourselves, how are we going to ensure that central bank will have a positive equity, which my fear is that if we don't take care, very soon Bank of Ghana may have liquidity challenges because of that negative equity, which means that government may have to recapitalize our central bank. And in a short, government might have to go and take money from somewhere to come and make sure that our central bank is really, really working. In my mind, our position, the central bank position, is very worrying with these huge losses. Let me also state that I'm not surprised seeing this in our situation. There are some banks in the world just after COVID or countries, their central banks have reported losses in correcting their economies. In the United States, for instance, 2025, our central bank reported a loss of $19.6 billion US. European Central Bank reported about 1.3 billion euros. Bank of Canada also about 82 million Canadian dollars in terms of losses. And they all admit that most of the policies they used were so aggressive, and going forward, they started coming back to recorrect them. So I'm sure we have to look at how to make sure that confidence is brought back into our central bank.
Thank you so much, Prof, for your time here on JoyNews Prime. You're still watching JoyNews Prime. We'll be back with more. Please stay with us.
Hey, what's up?
Life. It's moving so fast. Yesterday I was in class 4. Today I'm almost in JHS. My shoes don't fit me anymore. My voice is deeper. I was watching cartoons, but now they say I'm too old for that.
The more things change, the more they'll stay the same. I still love you the same.
Come accept that.
In a world that keeps changing, Calipo still keeps making sweet memories.
I still love it.
Dad, I told you to have a sip, not to finish it.
Calipo food juice drink, making sweet memories. This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, Charlie, what number? The malaria really knocked you down, eh? Charlie, no joke. Fever, headache, vomiting, loss of appetite. I couldn't even eat my usual fufu. You and your fufu. But I hope you got tested before the malaria treatment. Yes, I did. And thanks to Malatu, I kicked out malaria one time.
When malaria strikes, take Malatu, containing artemether and lumefantrine. Comes in tablets and suspension for effective treatment of malaria.
Great to have you back. Thank you. No problem.
Malatu is suitable for adults and children. Manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
My name is Ochiame Kwan, and Alphabet City says I should tell you about the Easter promo. So this very Easter, Alphabet City is giving out 11% discount on the full price of this beautiful semi-detached 4-bedroom. And they are saying that if you are buying within this month of Easter, because of the grace, they are going to give you free solar panels. And I repeat, free solar panels. The Easter grace is available for all. Secure your home with only 20% deposit of the full price of this beautiful home, and it's going to be yours forever. So call 0240-111-119. Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home.
Hello, my name is Pamela from Customer Service. Please revalidate your account by texting your Ghana card number to 0500,247.
Hey, Abili, wabidim.
Madam, give me the numbers behind your ATM card. I'm calling from the head office.
An email was delivered across to our customers this morning.
Confirm if this is your bank account. 100-100-100.
Thanks for sending your bank card details.
Send the OTP now to avoid cancellation.
EcoBank will never call, email, send an SMS asking for your PIN, OTP, bank card, or Ghana card details.
Don't get played. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Hello, please, I'm calling from Customer Experience Center.
Another week is here on the greatest of all time show. My name is Giovanni Clip, and tonight we're bringing you talent. Contestant number 1, let's bring Baby Car. Let's bring. You didn't for you.
Cut. Oh, there is a leakage.
Where's the plumber? for quality and durability, insist on Syntex pipes.
If you want quality, this be where you belong.
Strong, tough, and reliable. Your perfect match to your trusted Syntex pipe. Syntex pipe, it they carry water, no wahala. Syntex pipe, it they make water they flow. Syntex, and you're strong, and you're tough.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Sport Furniture, where we turn your dreams into reality with our exquisite furniture. My name is Ohima Champuma. Let's get started. These section of sofas are one of our best sellers. They are perfect for family gatherings and a cozy movie night. Here in our dining room section, you will find everything you need to host those unforgettable dinner parties. Hello. For those of you who love to work from home or just love a beautifully organized home office space, we have impressive home office furniture just for you. Now, let's explore our bedroom furniture. Take a look at these sets, best of its kind, and it's available in various sizes and finishes to match your decor. That concludes the tour of our showroom. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Visit us soon or log on to our website.
Thanks for staying with us. The Ghana Education Service has banned all teachers and supervisors implicated in the 2025 BEC malpractice from participating in this year's exams. Director General Professor Ernest Kofi Davis says those under scrutiny and sanction will be completely excluded as measures are tightened to curb irregularities. There is more in the following report.
At least 46 cases involving teachers and invigilators are currently under investigations by the Ghana Education Service, stemming from the 2025 BACE. The infractions range from 17 mobile phone-related breaches to 13 instances of prepared answers and 6 cases involving external assistance.
We have mobile phone-related offenses, 17 of them. Distribution of prepared copies of answers, 13 cases. Solving question for candidate, I have 6 cases. Possession of unauthorized materials, I have 4 cases. Organized coordinated malpractice, I have 3 cases. Leakage, I have 1 case. Financially motivated practice like bribe, I have a case we are looking at. And then dictating answers, I have a case before us. We have 8 of them who are in prison. You know what it means. Once we are in prison, you don't have any business with us.
Director General Professor Ernest Kofi Davis, speaking at a media briefing at the service headquarters, says these invigilators or teachers linked to the malpractice are blacklisted.
I wish to remind all supervisors and regional directors of education that all teachers and supervisors who were linked to examination malpractice last year and are being processed for sanctions are banned from the examination centers. They are not expected to have anything to do with the examinations.
On school selection, candidates will be required to choose 8 schools, including 2 Category A options, one of which must be within the candidate's locality as part of efforts to ace placement challenges.
Let's shift our attention now to energy. Government says it will replace the damaged facility at Akosombo GRIDCo substation with a more modern control room. Speaking during a visit to the Akosombo Dam and substation, President John Dramani Mahama said the recent fire that destroyed the GRIDCo facility presents an opportunity for Ghana to replace the damaged facility with a more modern control room capable of serving future generations. There's more in this report by Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Agbagwa.
The fire in the GRIDCo control room at the Akosombo substation caused significant damage to the heart of Ghana's power system. The blaze destroyed vital equipment which are crucial for managing the flow of electricity across the national grid. As a result, the incident disrupted power operations and posed a major challenge. President Mahama commended engineers from the Ghana Grid Company GRIDCo and the Volta River Authority for working around the clock to restore 4 out of the 6 affected generating units, urging them to continue their efforts to bring the remaining 2 units into operation.
Who would have expected that the control room would develop this kind of fire? But of course, I hear it's been there since 1964. So they say in adversity is opportunity, because now that this adversity has happened, it makes gives us an opportunity to replace with it a more modern control room that will serve this Akosombo plant and let it work for more generations yet unborn. And so I told the minister I was coming here to see for myself the work you had done. He's briefed me. You have 4 of the turbines back on, and he says that you're working another miracle and that I'll get good news soon with the remaining 2 turbines also coming back on. So I want to thank you very much for what you've done, and we encourage you to continue to work. VRA will continue to be one of the foremost state-owned enterprises, and GRIDCo and VRA, both of you, you are among the foremost twins of the same mother, GRIDCo and VRA, and we know that you continue to work, and every support government can give you will continue to.
In recognition of exceptional dedication, President Mahama recommended automatic employment for a national service person who contributed to the recovery efforts. The Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapo, said generation is now meeting demand. He also revealed that MTN Ghana is giving 1 million Ghana cedis to support and appreciate the engineers for their hard work in restoring power.
Then we build an ultra-modern state-of-the-art control center with all the modern equipment and compartmentalize it. So if there's a fire incident at one section, automatically the others are shut and it will take in that section. And so we are working with them to use AI and integrate it in the command center in Accra so that all of us will have real-time what is happening. The 3rd day when I came here in the night, when we went to the switchyard, I saw a lady in the tunnel during that night pulling the cable. And I asked, what are you doing? She said, she's a national service personnel and she's been working for the past.
While away from that, a 20-year-old water tanker attendant has drowned in a water-filled quarry pit at Mpobi in the Fijia-Kwabre South District. The victim, Kwame Owusu, had accompanied his driver to the Quarry Limited site to fetch water for a construction project. Witnesses say he entered the pit to swim while the tanker was being filled but did not resurface. There is more in the following report.
The incident occurred about 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Initial rescue attempts by community members proved futile, prompting calls for support from the National Disaster Management Organization, the fire service, and the police. Despite a search of the pit, the body was not retrieved on Tuesday. It was eventually recovered around 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday after search operations resumed in the morning. Traditional authorities in Mpobi performed customary rites to facilitate the recovery. The body has since been deposited at the morgue pending further police investigation. Mpobi Assembly member Yakubu Yusuf gave an account of the incident. The incident has shocked our community because we have never experienced anything like this. Our younger brother, who works with MMM Quarry, drowned yesterday and his body was just retrieved. Police have sent the body to the morgue for preservation and autopsy and have begun investigations.
This year, I'm going to say the police for take over Omode Emunoko Hospital, and to try actually.
The deceased mother also described how she was told about her son's death and how she reacted to the news.
My son had refused to go to work, so I forced him to go on Monday morning. Later that afternoon, I was bathing when a boy came to my house on a bicycle and asked me to come out. He told me what happened. On our way there, people on the road told me to return home because my son was already dead.
Wife of the deceased, with whom he had a 4-month baby, also spoke about the incident.
We have a 4-month-old baby and I cannot raise the child by myself. I'm pleading with Ghanaians to come to my aid.
4 months.
Francis Mensah's report for Joy News.
Contractors working on the automated premix fuel systems for fishing communities say delays in payment are slowing progress on the ground. Chairman of Parliament's Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs Committee, Dr. Godfred Seydou Jasau, is urging government to clear the areas urgently. The call follows an inspection of landing beaches at Jamestown, Nungwa and Teshi, where the team assessed ongoing challenges with the project. Michelle Latte has more in the following report, which we'll be bringing to you later. To other stories now, small-scale miners at Mansu in the Amanzia South district of the Ashanti region have accused some unauthorized security personnel of using the name of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat to extort money from them at the mining site. The miners claim these individuals frequently move from site to site demanding money under the pretense of enforcing government's anti-galamsey operations. There is more in the following report.
Clad in red armbands, the miners stage a protest against the NIMOS imposters, urging authorities to act swiftly before the situation escalates. According to the aggrieved workers, they are uncertain whether the government has established any additional task force aside the NIMOS as the alleged imposters continue to harass them. The miners warned that they may be forced to confront the perpetrators if authorities fail to intervene.
Well, I barely pack. And so, more money and small so any day. 1 hour. Tell you the best come out and say, the small scale man and 1 year, December 2 more they are. And the business year and 2 months and I'm a food in a day. And what machine, you know.
They extort from us. All of them claim to be government officers. We will continue to do galamsey. They destroy our items. The next time they come around, we will face them. They caution that failure by authorities to address the issue could lead to violent confrontations in the area. Abdullah Chipsa is a site manager at one of the mining concessions.
Last time, Anna in NDC, I'm a push for buyer. 1 billion. I know James 500 million. That's 50,000. And I'm sure from a friend or can say, Massa.
A certain DCE came to my site with some security to extort money from us, which he took 50,000 cedis from me and 100,000 cedis from my colleagues. When I called him, he said he is enriching himself before the 4 years. Nobody can stop him. Honestly, he's destroying the party. Joseph Abins reports for Joy News.
Concerns are growing over the quality of air residents breathe in Kumasi as experts warn of rising health risk in the rapidly expanding city. But despite visible signs of pollution, gaps in data continue to limit effective action. Mahmoud Nuruddin reports from a stakeholder meeting in Kumasi.
In Kumasi, the air people breathe is becoming under increasing scrutiny, from busy roads filled with smoke-emitting vehicles to the burning of waste in communities. Pollution is becoming harder to ignore. At a major stakeholder meeting, the first of its kind in the city, government officials, researchers, and civil society groups gathered to confront the issue and chart a way forward. Country Director for Clean Air Fund, Desmond Apia, says Kumasi is facing growing pressure. Mr. Apia explains that while some pollution comes from natural sources like Sahara dust, much of it is driven by human activity, including emissions from vehicles, burning of waste, and smoke from homes.
We know also that there is a natural background of pollution in Ghana because of our nearness to the Sahara. And so there is that background across the whole place. Then there is the type of pollution which is created by human activity, especially transportation, waste burning, household air pollution. And those are the areas that we want to be working with cities. So in terms of where Kumasi sits when it comes to the pollution levels, I think it's similar to cities of this size.
He says a major challenge remains the lack of reliable data.
But in terms of having a network to give us a clearer picture of the quality of air or real-time quality of air, I think that there's more that can be done.
Ashanti Regional Director for the Environmental Protection Authority, Dr. Jackson Yantachi, says human activities are largely responsible for declining air quality. Dr. Yantachi says the authority operates about 6 monitoring devices in the region, not enough for a city the size.
What we are doing is also not enough. So we are the Environmental Protection Authority CEO, Professor Nanama Brown-Cloche, is committed to installing more air samplers or air quality monitors all over the region so that we can actually have empirical data to make an informed decision.
Ashanti Regional Director of Environmental Health, David Opondako, says there are signs of improvement, but warns against complacency.
When you look at the presentation that was made, comparing the WHO figures and what we have, it doesn't paint any gloomy picture at all. It means that we are on course, but we have to do more.
A report by Mohamed Nuruddin. This story was a collaboration with the New Narratives. Funding was provided by the Clean Air Fund, which had no say in the story's content.
You're still watching JoyNews Prime. We'll be back with Showbiz. Please stay with us.
Seeing the Printex fabric, I like the color, texture. I chose this design that suits my body type. It means a lot to me to look good. Includes the outwear. I don't care about nobody's opinion.
Printex. Hi, it's me. The one you poke, sip, and hopefully love. I'm your small reminder that growing up doesn't mean growing out of me. Trends come and go, but you still reach for me. I'm not just a drink, I'm that little sip that reminds you life can still be sweet. Calipo fruit juice drink, making sweet memories. This advert is FDA approved.
Putting on just the fabric isn't really enough. You have to put on your confidence. I chose this Printex fabric because it symbolizes hope and success because of the color and the texture.
Printex.
Hey, Charlie, what number? The malaria really knocked you down, eh?
Charlie, no joke. Fever, headache, vomiting, loss of appetite. I couldn't even eat my usual fufu.
You and your fufu. But I hope you got tested before the malaria treatment.
Yes, I did. And thanks to Malatu, I kicked out malaria one time.
When malaria strikes, take Mala 2, containing artemether and lumefantrine. Comes in tablets and suspension for effective treatment of malaria.
Great to have you back.
Thank you. No problem.
Mala 2 is suitable for adults and children. Manufactured and distributed by NS Chemists Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Well, it's time for Showbiz, and the Queen herself is in the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. Becky Bex, please.
Drum roll. Becky right here. Oh, look at me. I look nice. Do I?
You do, darling.
You have to say
I'm
that.
I'm sorry. You look pretty.
Thank you all for joining us here on Joy News this evening. Let's talk about Ghanaian artist Kevin Boy. He has called on fellow musicians to rally behind the preservation and promotion of high life music, stressing in an interview on the primetime show on Joy Prime that the genre represents an authentic cultural identity that must be protected and sustained.
The
one that life. Yeah. Last time I was talking with Payday, he was saying it because if you listen, it's over. The more high life, and even me, if you listen, Osimia, Waya, Ferry, everything. So it's like, okay, whatever we want to call ourselves, whatever we should make sure, whatever we do it, we portray high life in there. Absolutely. He told me for it. You're not the only one.
And you know, this year, we're celebrating High Life at 100. High Life is a century old. Ghana, yeah, this year. Yeah, 100 years of High Life music.
This year?
Yes, this year. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sure activities will be roll out as we go up. I've had some news from the grapevines around the
You know, he has a very strong high life background. He's been singing live band music.
Of course, now.
Your girl enter my pushing. Tout le monde est dansé. You is scatter the party. Pushing. At the end of the day, this no be play. As you dey handle, I'ma feel okay. Pepe for pepe, and I chill in there. It's a weather for two.
So Weather for Two is out. Go stream it on all platforms. That's Kevin Boy and Kojo Black there. This evening we have Prime Movie Box for you. This is actually new. This is a rom-com that's not safe for work, but so worth the risk. Jennifer Lopez and Brett Colston lead a raunchy romantic comedy about a secret office romance and the trouble two workaholics get in when they start thinking with their hearts. Watch this official trailer for Office Romance.
Daniel, you need to be in Miss Cruz's office in 5 minutes.
Have you met Miss Cruz?
She's tough.
She hates the sound of breathing. Don't breathe. But if you have to, try to take a quick gas through the side of your mouth like this.
He wanted to see me? Holy shit.
You're the new lawyer?
I am he, Daniel Lanceflower.
For most people, work is something that you have to endure. But for me, running this airline, this is the best part.
There is someone I like. It's my boss. She's dynamic. She's incredible.
This is not a date. This is a work dinner.
Cheers.
What's happening right now? It's nothing.
One man.
Go home. Jack.
You're being deposed in the Dominican Republic.
Welcome aboard.
You're flying the plane.
I'm not just a CEO of Veracruz. I'm also a pilot.
Fuck! Jesus.
Whoops. Sorry.
Dinner?
What'd you say?
Never mind. Sorry.
Want to have dinner?
Yes.
Do you believe in magic?
Honestly, since I first walked into your office, I believe in everything.
No fooling around at the office.
Never at the office.
If we got caught, it could destroy everything I've built.
Good day, Jackie. Miss Cruz.
Jackie's fine. Everybody calls me Jackie.
Bye, Jackie.
Bye, Jackie.
Bye, Jackie. I have never called her Jackie before.
You two having sex with No. Jackie? Aborted.
is looking to throw you out.
Your rash decision has given us further doubt you're the best man for the job.
Object!
I won't do that.
Do it or I'll fire your ass.
Then fire me. I think I fucked up her whole life. Not sure I can do anything now.
My little brother's in love.
You don't shit where you eat.
I do. I shit where I eat, where I sleep, where I read books, where I wank.
Oh, we're looking forward to that.
Have you tried office romance before, Becky?
No, I haven't, but I know somebody was in love with me. Ashilevi was in love with me, but I didn't give him, you know.
Why?
We can try, though. Derek.
Derek, why didn't you give him?
Oh, he started dating somebody else. Not in the office, though.
Oh.
Congratulations to you, Derek. And shout outs to Auntie Susie.
Okay.
She's my neighbor.
Your
like next door neighbor.
Okay.
Yeah, she's watching. Auntie Susie, I love you. You love my is it dress or shirt?
It's a beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you tried office dating though?
I haven't.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe you.
I don't mix business with pleasure.
Me too.
Okay, that's how we wrap up the bulletin. For more news, please log on to my Joy.
We'll still be here tomorrow. I'm taking a break tomorrow. We love you all. Please log on to myjoyline.com.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, we're dedicating it. Oh, yeah, sure.
People look in envy at Rwanda, Malaysia, and Singapore. What it took to get them where they are we prepared to do that? Singapore still has corporal punishment, but all the human rights lawyers are in Ghana, though.
When Akufo-Addo was in power, do you know how we hold in neck? But there is a new political party in power, a new sheriff in town. I will not be boxed into submission.
No matter how much money you give to a poor mind, they will go back broke.
If I have to sleep with somebody for my rent, sleep with somebody to get a car, sleep with somebody who's going to give me the dress, are you not tired?
Neutrality about journalism is a fallacy. You cannot be a football fanatic and say that you are neither Kotoko or Hearts.
Your mom is in the kitchen and you're like, I have rehearsal, so you won't help mommy cook. We're gonna have an audacious sister who doesn't know how to cook. Wow. Talk, no, they cook rice.
And when do children go to school and when don't children go to school? Yeah, bomba. It's the same classes.
You don't always have to win when it comes to pageants or competitions.
You don't always have to win.
You don't always have to
but
win.
You entered because you wanted to.
Exactly.
When I find somebody saying my boss didn't like me, that's why I left. It's weird because we are constantly looking for very competent workers and we don't want them to leave.
Where do you get this love to give?
That's a very deep one.
For some of us, we don't have anybody to confide in. So the next person is the wrong person.
No matter how we feel like we are superstars or we're artists, we're human. I will never be able to please everybody.
My dad left when I was a little younger, but of course, to work for us.
Mine abandoned my mom. Yeah. I was not even 1 year old when this happened. So the only image of him I have is a picture.
I opened the door to his room. And the man that I've been eating with, the man I've been dancing with, he was lying on a stretcher.
Hello everyone, welcome to Prime Business. I am Pius Kojo-Baka. The multimedia group, in partnership with the Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association, is set to host a special May Day egg sales aimed at making poultry products more accessible to both staff and the public. The one-day event is scheduled for tomorrow, Friday, May 1, and will run from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Joy FM car park here at Kokomlemle. The initiative is designed to offer quality eggs at competitive prices while supporting local poultry farmers and encouraging consumption of local produced goods. Max Fuga is the general manager in charge of sales and marketing at Multimedia Group.
The second edition of the Joy FM at Doom TV egg sales, which we are doing in collaboration with the Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association. First of all, is to celebrate the hard-working Ghanaians. Tomorrow is May Day, and so we are calling it the May Day edition. It's to show appreciation to the hard-working Ghanaians. We want them to buy the eggs, in fact, fresh eggs, at unbeatable farm gate prices. After all the hard work, you should be able to afford eggs for yourself and for your family. It's a very important requirement. And so that's why we are doing this. The Ghanaian worker had the opportunity to buy eggs, fresh eggs, at unbeatable farm gate prices. And we are doing this at the forecourts or at the car park of Joy FM. So wherever they go tomorrow, whether they are marching or whether they are home, wherever they are, Joy FM, in collaboration with the Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association, is making it possible to buy eggs at unbeatable prices. On the average, a crate of eggs costs about 70. We have arranged with the Poultry Farmers to ensure that the average price tomorrow will be 40 cedis per crate. And so this is unbeatable. And it is to celebrate and to say thank you to the hard-working Ghanaians. And so it was just a day's event starting 6 a.m. and closing at 6 p.m. The last time people thought, oh, this is a Ghanaian thing, we're coming in late. All those who came late did not get the eggs. The 12,000 crates got finished and people couldn't get it. So we will advise that people come in early. We are setting up this evening. People come in early to buy their stocks. And then by 6 p.m., will be over. But if the eggs finish before 6 p.m., that will be it. The future is to collaborate deeper with the poultry farmers, not only the Greater Accra, but the National Poultry Farmers Association. And so we are trying to replicate this in all the regions, starting with Kumasi. We want to make sure that the average Ghanaian is able to buy a crate of egg at a very, very affordable price.
Most definitely, tomorrow you have to be here to get your unbeatable prices of eggs. Now, food prices and utility costs were the biggest drivers of Ghana's inflation in 2025, accounting for a combined 66.3% of the overall price increase recorded during the year. This came to light at the launch of the 2025 annual inflation report released by the Ghana Statistical Service. Here's more.
Data by the Ghana Statistical Service shows that food and non-alcoholic beverages contributed 52.3% to total inflation, making it the single largest driver of rising prices. Housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels followed as the major contributor, accounting for about 13.8%. Speaking at the launch, Government Statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu underscored the need for government to support the agricultural space.
When inflation is high and unpredictable, planning breaks down. Investment slows, and the most vulnerable suffer the most. But when inflation is stable, businesses invest, jobs are created, and government can plan and deliver services more effectively. This is directly linked to Ghana's development priorities and the Sustainable Development Goals, especially SDG 1, Goal 1, which is on poverty reduction.
Also speaking at the launch was Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyaku Ampemu said government will work to ensure inflation data reflects current consumption patterns.
The difference between recovery and resilience will be our ability to make the right decisions consistently and based on credible evidence. This annual inflation report gives us that evidence. It gives us a mirror to understand our economy. It gives us a compass to guide our policy, and it gives us a foundation to build trust with citizens, investors, and partners. Let us use it, let us interrogate it, and let us act on it.
On this spot, First Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Zakaria Mumuni, said the Bank of Ghana will continue to work collectively with the Ghana Statistical Service to ensure efficiency in its policy direction.
The Bank of Ghana remains firmly committed to its price stability mandate. Achieving and sustaining low and stable inflation requires not only an appropriate policy decisions, but also high quality data and strong institutional collaboration. We will continue to work closely with the Ghana Statistical Service and other stakeholders to ensure that our policy decisions are informed by best available evidence.
The Ghana Statistical Service emphasized that inflationary pressures were largely coming from basic necessities, with food leading the trend, followed by housing and utilities.
Away from food-related stories, speakers at the Joy Business Economic Roundtable Dialogue have praised managers of the economy over how current economic stability has been sustained. They are, however, worried about whether the government can sustain the current fiscal discipline, especially going forward. But others were also worried the gains have not been translated into job creation. Here's a wrap of the Joy Business Economic Roundtable discussion.
Speaking at the Joy Business Roundtable discussion, Chief Executive of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mark Bedwa-Boaji, stated that even though there has been improvement in some macroeconomic indicators, cost of doing business in the country is still high. He cited, for example, that inflation is at 3.2%, but businesses are still borrowing at a high rate.
And on that score, looking at numbers, I think there have been positive and significant improvement in the macroeconomic indicators. I think that is not accidental, it's not just by chance. I have seen more deliberate and policy coordination between the monetary policy and the fiscal policy. We also have the external conditions also favoring us. So in terms of the numbers, we have done well. I mean, to drop inflation from where it was to 3.2, you need a high level of commitment. And of course, we've also seen a significant drop in the policy rate from 28 to 14%. Interest rate is coming down, but we still think that is very high. And when we are having this discussion, because we operate in an international market, we're integrated internationally, we should be able to compare ourselves to our peers, people that we are competing with. Because businesses, we don't produce only for Ghanaians. We produce for the external market. So we are competing with products coming from other regions. In fact, if you look at our Francophone neighbors, their policy rate is 3.2. There could be an explanation for that because they tie their policy, monetary policy conditions to that of France and all other indicators. But they are the ones we are competing with. If their policy rate is that low, and their interest rate is that low, and you are, of course, we've seen a reduction. You are paying, they say, 17.5. That is fine, but we still think that is very high.
On her part, economist Professor Ejepoma Jekedaku said, the level of stability being witnessed in the economy is not artificial and called for sustained fiscal discipline.
I don't want to really buy into the fact that the gains are artificial. Okay. No. Because, you see, we had a natural resource like gold, and of course the prices of gold are rising on the world market. It's important for you to take advantage of that increase in price and use it to support your economy. So, for example, if you have an institution like Gold Board trying to curb smuggling, and then mobilize the gold that it can mobilize to sell on the international market, to be able to get some forex to help stabilize the cedi, for example, I don't see that to be artificial. Okay. This is not to say that those structural issues that we have in the economy, we should not be addressing, because there are also risks when it comes to being reliant on the commodity market. And so if today gold prices went down, then we are going to be in trouble. Cocoa prices have started dwindling, and that might even affect the amount of forex that is coming in.
Partner at Deloitte Ghana, Yaolate, singled out the decoupling of the VAT and the National Health Insurance Levy as key relief for businesses.
The second thing is government's bold step in removing some tax handles. And I think that was the first government budget that was presented. That sent a positive signal to the business community, and I think we should commend government for that. The third is also about the VAT reforms. Yes, it took a bit longer for the consultation to happen and for government to boldly implement it. But I think it's making our business environment a lot more competitive than what it used to be. Decoupling and then just making it a lot more flexible. Now, you can predict even with certainty that the pass-through effect will not be as massive as it was before. Because if you cannot claim your NHIL and your GET fund that you are paying, what we were doing at the time was to tax on tax. So if you buy something at a time that was costing 100 Ghana cedi, your NHIL and then your GET fund cost at 5% will be added at 105 before the VAT is taxed on it. Now that's not the case. The tax is on the entire percentage of 20% is on the cost amount at 100, and that takes you to 120. You can always predict that. So that's the coupling thing that we had created uncertainty in the business environment.
Technical advisor to the Finance Minister, Frederick Emisa, revealed that government has been able to save more than 80 billion cedis due to cuts in Treasury bills borrowing over the past 1 year.
We have the 91-day T-bill. We have the NPL ratio. We have all these things. If you see that the GR is coming down, it means that the impacts of inflation, the impacts of the 91-day T-bill, all of them are contributing to the coming down of the GR. The GR was, let's not forget, it was almost 30% in December 2024. It is now 10. Businesses were borrowing at 35. They now borrow below 20. In fact, some businesses borrow at GR, at 10, at 11, at 13. Personal loans are going for around 13%. So if this is not impact, then what is it?
The chief executive of Delex Finance, Joe Jackson, stated that the recent cedi appreciation, even though good for imports, is also hurting local producers who export their goods.
One of the things that's been clearly, Sebedua just clearly indicated that manufacturing is more expensive. That is a trade-off from our policy of the cedi appreciating. Because when the cedi appreciates, what it makes it immediately makes importation attractive and cheaper. So, in a sense, are we surprised that this is happening? And it's a trade-off. Of course, the cedi appreciating has other benefits. But what we should man up and say that, listen, whilst the cedi appreciates, of course, our debt has dropped because there's a significant foreign component. The cedi has appreciated, so fuel has improved, fuel prices have improved, other things have improved. But you see, what has improved? The prices of imported items. Our local production has suffered. So what we have here is a policy trade-off. And we must admit that there's a cost to it. And that it will take time for things to stabilize and accept before we can get to the point where manufacturing has adjusted.
The Joy Business Roundtable discussion was on the theme, Mahama at 16 months. Do economic narratives match real sector outcomes?
And the good thing is that you can find that discussion when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business, in case you missed out on that. Now, the Venture Capital Trust Fund has hinted at plans to redirect its focus on investments in agro-processing and digital technology in the next phase of projects. This is aimed at supporting employment potential in these areas for the youth whilst expanding the economy. Details in this report.
The Venture Capital Trust Fund in the last 20 years has been at the forefront of providing support to fund managers to support initiatives aimed at investing in the local economy. As part of its mandate, the fund has also made some contributions in job creation through the various fund support to managers and investment firms. As it moves on with its mandate, the fund is making efforts to increase contribution to the agro-processing and digital technology space as a sustainable form of economic growth. Here is General Manager Percival Ofori-Ampoma.
Next phase, digital technology. We have a project coming up with the Ghana Digital Acceleration Project. It was supposed to have started last year, but for some glitches we couldn't start. And the whole point is to direct digital innovation, climate and agtech. So it's something that we are interested in. The agro-processing, we want to continue to be very strong in that, especially the oil, the red gold. It's a very crucial part of our economy that maybe we have not been looking at it very strongly. So it's something that we are looking at investing in. Fintech is still very strong on the agenda.
Speaking at the media engagement, Chief Executive of the fund, Michael Abe, also highlighted the importance of having such investments locally.
What I've realized is that one would need to be able to provide sustainable jobs in order to give or create sustainable employment. When businesses are not sustainable, when businesses operate just within the cycle of, let's say, the life of the founder, or even within the term of a government, and a term goes, they die out, or they are unable to receive the benefit, the support that is required to make them sustainable, it's a cyclical thing. We'll come back again to discuss matters of jobs because we haven't created that robust, sustainable business, or that environment at least, that supports same in order to produce the jobs that our brothers and sisters at our homes, our families, our relatives so need in order to live a dignified life.
The fund is hoping to deepen partnerships with stakeholders to increase support to medium and small enterprises.
For young Ghanaians with bright business ideas but empty pockets, high interest rates have become a padlock on their dreams. But now a major push is underway for a different kind of banking, one with zero interest and shared risk. And as we report, its advocates say it's not just for Muslims, it's for anyone who wants their business to grow. Anna Sabit reports.
Imagine having a great business idea but being unable to get a loan because the interest alone will sink you before you start. That's the reality for many young Ghanaians, and now a push is underway for a different model, interest-free Sharia-compliant finance. Here at the Faculty of Law Auditorium at the KNUST, the Islamic Finance Research Institute of Ghana hosted its 6th annual forum. The target, high interest rates, and the solution, interest-free banking. Dr. Shaibu Ali is the Director General of the Islamic Finance Research Institute of Ghana.
It's part of the Institute's agenda to continue to create awareness so that Ghanaians will benefit. Somebody will ask why this. Of course, I keep on saying that poverty has no religion, poverty has no color. Ghanaians who are living, below the poverty line must be pushed up through an entrepreneurship, and these particular concepts give that opportunity for a bank to, fund an entrepreneur, which is unlikely of, some of the conventional banks, because most of the time they'll tell you bring a 5-year statement, which somebody who just completes who cannot bring. But the non-interest banks support entrepreneurship. That is why in some of the presentation they were discussing issue of financial inclusion, just to make sure that they push those who are not banking. They are not banking because they don't have anything to bank. So once they are entrepreneurs, they are working, they are able to get something to do. They can be able to bank and be within the banking class.
Since 2019, IFRIG has been quietly building awareness, monthly webinars, seminars, and international conferences teaching Sharia-compliant finance. But many Ghanaians still mistake Islamic banking as exclusive to Muslims. This forum is aimed at burying that myth. Alhaji Atahiru Machido is the CEO of Trustmark Capital Limited and a board member of the IFRIG.
Now, some of the misconception is actually to say that this particular, because it is called Islamic banking in some other regions, it meant actually for only Muslim, which is not so actually. And it is a Abrahamic religion because all the don'ts in terms of prohibitions are actually cut across all the Abrahamic religion. So it's not actually only for Muslim, but it's for everybody actually that is interested. So the in terms of misconception that is meant for only Muslim is not so. Management-wise, board of directors, financing can all be for everybody actually that is in need of that aspect.
Here's the difference. A regular bank lends you money and charges interest whether you profit or fail. A non-interest bank becomes your partner. They know your business. They visit your shop. If you grow, they grow. If you struggle, they share the loss. That direct relationship, advocates say, changes everything. It aligns the bank's success with the entrepreneurs, not with a calendar taken down to a payment deadline.
Unlike the conventional banks that you approach the bank, you need financing. The bank will look at your credibility, credit capacity, and they will just give you the money. What are you going to do with it? They don't care actually with respect to that. In non-interest banking, there must be an asset. So it has direct contact with the real sector that is actually making the economy to grow as well as develop in terms of all that aspect. So it shows positivity.
The question now is, will regulators and traditional banks embrace this model? For thousands of young Ghanaians stuck on the sidelines, the answer can't come soon enough. Anna Sabit, JoyNews.
Women drive nearly half of Ghana's entrepreneurial space, yet many of them lose out of capital opportunities and skills needed to grow. In the Ashanti region, that gap has been under the spotlight as the third edition of the Women in Business Dialogue brought together female entrepreneurs, investors, and policymakers to chart a path towards inclusive and sustainable growth. More in the following report.
About 80% of Ghana's informal economy comprises small and medium-sized businesses, with women constituting approximately 46% of the entrepreneurial workforce. Despite contributing significantly to Ghana's GDP, a majority of women face critical investment challenges, including limited access to credit facilities, markets, and financial literacy. The third edition of the Women in Business Dialogue, organized by the Business and Financial Times in partnership with EcoBank, offered a unique platform bridging the gap for women-led businesses in the Ashanti region, as the government sets out to operationalize the Women's Development.
Statistics will tell us that we have about $5 billion gap when it comes to financing SMEs. We also know that the SMEs form about 90% of businesses in Ghana. Again, GDP contribution of SMEs is about 70%. Women form about 44% when it comes to the gender. So it is important and relevant for us to women to ensure that they are strong enough to scale up. And a woman farmer indicated that one of their problems is having collateral. So you realize that houses, even the cows that they have there, is all in the name of men. So they are not able to access funds. If you go to the bank, they're asking you for collateral and all that, but they don't have collateral. So it means they can't scale up. And also we know that women are the ones who take care of the house, they take care of the home, they take care of the children and all that. So if we are able to give them that tool, we are able to give them that structure from the onset as they start their businesses. We are able to help them with bookkeeping and all that we are learning today. Then it means that they have a good structure, and then they will need the next level is to scale up. And that is where they are able to go to the formal financing institutions like the banks. The banks will be able to support them to scale up and get to the next level.
The dialogue assembled dozens of female entrepreneurs from diverse sectors of the economy, including petty trading, agriculture, technology and innovation, and students. It's delved in critical conversations around building sustainable and inclusive opportunities for women, particularly in agribusiness. Regina Ofori is the head of marketing and branding at EcoBank.
I must also say that one of the other things is also about women businesses that are not formalized. Most of these businesses remain micro, at the micro level, so they are not registering the business, they are not keeping records. There's so many little things that they can do to support their businesses. So this is a great opportunity for us to have one-on-one conversations, very intimate conversations with them, help them to understand the whys so that they can appreciate it better. And right here and now we're able to support them for them to start that journey so their businesses can be elevated.
Women Cancer reiterated government's commitment to supporting local businesses. The event was held on the theme Building Market Leaders, Empowering Women-Led SMEs and Agribusinesses for Inclusive
for Women. We also know that a region, the Ashanti region, and then Ghana as a whole is also going to benefit from the government initiative of the Women's Bank. And so last year, as in 2025, we saw a budget allocation of 51 million in the 2025 budget. In the 2026 budget, there is also an allocation of 401 million. And now, government is in the process of establishing or has established the bank. The bank is expected to disburse funds to support women in business.
The British Council has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting creative entrepreneurs in Ghana following the graduation of participants under its sole creative e-learning program. Speaking to Joy Business Regional Program Lead at the British Council, Paul Kweku-Akrofi stressed the importance of sustained support systems to help entrepreneurs transition from training into viable businesses.
Creative program delivered in partnership with University of Art London, Henley Business School and other partners provides training in creative entrepreneurship, social enterprise and policy development for creatives across sub-Saharan Africa. Speaking to Joy Business, Regional Program Lead at the British Council, Paul Kweku-Akrofi stressed the importance of sustained support systems to help entrepreneurs transition from training into viable business.
The event really is to celebrate the graduation of over 100 learners, both in Accra and then virtually in Tamale. And then we also saw some participants joining us from Uganda and Zimbabwe as well. So collectively, we're looking at about 1,000 entrepreneurs, creative entrepreneurs across sub-Saharan Africa. Well, the purpose is to give visibility that creatives are hungry for training and hungry for opportunities. They're hungry to be upskilled in how to build creative businesses around their craft. British Council believes that creatives are talented. We've seen that over the years from the work that we do. The gap was to help them build sustainable livelihoods out of the craft. And so Creative is to fill in that gap.
An entrepreneur and beneficiary of the program, Evelyn Wiafi, highlighted the impact of the initiative on small businesses.
This So Creative program has been very transformative for my business. We start businesses without knowing the next step to take, but this program has guided us step by step when to scale, when to pivot, when to even partner. It gave us the knowledge in collaboration, how to collaborate, when to collaborate, the do's, the don'ts, the know-hows, the right skills for us to use.
The initiative forms part of broader effort to strengthen Ghana's creative ecosystem and position entrepreneurs to take advantage of both local and international market opportunities.
Thanks so much for being part of Prime Business for today. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Razak is next with Prime Sports.
Central bank's job is not passive. It does not simply watch the economy, and then is the policy rate. This is the interest rate that the central bank charges when it lends money to commercial banks. Think of it as the starting point, the reference rate from which the entire financial system takes its signal. When the bank raises the policy rate, banks pass that higher cost onto businesses and households. People borrow less money circulates. When the bank lowers the rate, borrowing becomes more affordable. Credit flows more freely. Businesses invest. Households spend. This is how the policy rate acts as a signal, not a command, but a powerful influence on the entire system. But how does the bank decide where to set the rate? It looks at the full picture: inflation trends, movement in the exchange rate, global commodity prices, credit conditions in the economy, and what is happening in the wider world, from shifts in major trading partners to geopolitical development that could affect Ghana. All of that gets weighed, and then the bank sets the rate it believes will best keep the economy on track. The second tool is liquidity management. Liquidity refers to the amount of money flowing through the banking system at any given time. Think of money in the system like water flowing through a pipe. When the flow is balanced, the economy functions well. But when there is too much money in the system, more than the economy needs, prices can start to rise. Inflation builds. The central bank's job is to manage that flow. One of the main ways the central bank does this is through open market operations, or OMO. When there is too much money circulating, the central bank steps in and absorbs the excess, drawing it out of the system and holding it safely. The excess money is taken out of circulation. The pressure on prices eases. The third activity is building the country's external reserves. Think of reserves as Ghana's national savings, held in foreign currencies and internationally recognized assets. They are the buffer that protects Ghana when global conditions deteriorate, when import prices spike, when the cedi comes under pressure, when foreign financing dries up. Strong reserves give the country room to respond without panic. So much money in the system is war. The central bank holds and manages these reserves on behalf of the country. How it does so is guided by internationally recognized principles, the kind endorsed by institutions like the IMF and the Bank for International Settlements. When central banks manage their reserves, they are guided by three principles. First, safety. Preserving capital is the priority. This means holding a well-diversified portfolio of high-quality assets so that risks are well managed, not overly concentrated, and balanced across assets that behave differently under changing market conditions. Second, liquidity. Making sure the funds are available and easy to deploy when needed. Third, return. Earning a reasonable return after safety and liquidity are ensured. Together, they are how the bank executes monetary policy.
Hi, welcome to Prime Sports with me, Razak Musbawa. And government has ramped up efforts to mobilize funds for the Black Stars ahead of the 2026 World Cup as they seek to meet the target of $30 million to fund all expenses relative to the World Cup, which includes the transport of fans to cheer the team at the global tournament to be hosted in America, Canada, and the USA. Now, at a brief ceremony which was held earlier today at the Finance Ministry, Deputy Minister of Finance received over $2 million from 6 corporate entities, including engineers and planners, who have now redeemed part of their $5 million pledge.
Today, we are privileged to have our lead sponsor here, engineers and planners, who on the day of the launch pledged to support us with $5 million United States dollars. I'm happy to say that today they are here to redeem part of the pledge of $2 million. They have already paid the money into the account, but we are going to do the symbolic presentation. Apart from engineers and planners giving us $2 million, others have also either redeemed their pledge or donated to support the Black Stars. We have First Bank giving us 553,500 Ghana cedis. We have GT Bank, 2,236,000 cedis. First Atlantic, 1,102,000 cedis. Timeline and Innovations, 1 million Ghana cedis. And Petroleum Commission, 500,000 Ghana cedis. So, on behalf of the Black Stars and on behalf of all Ghanaians, we say a very big thank you to these institutions and individuals who have seen the need to support our Black Stars to go and fly high the flag of the Republic of Ghana.
The founder and chief executive officer of Engineers and Planners, Ibrahim Muhammad, reaffirmed the commitment of his company to support the country while assuring that they will redeem the rest of their $3 million pledge of the $5 million that they made.
We promise to contribute to the Black Stars. As to the Black Stars, contributing to the Black Stars meaning that you're contributing to everybody, which will touch everybody. The amount, Mr. Meza, I was going to refer to you. You're charging you're collecting CDs and you're collecting dollars from us. But anyway, we are the senior citizens of this country, so it's actually imperative for us to even pay much more than friends in the business community. This is to say that we're committed to Ghana. We just did our first gold pour, and we sold it to the Bank of Ghana, which we are very proud of, to say that this was what our intentions were, to be able to support the country. So what I would say is this is just the beginning of our deposit to come. Whilst the time goes by, we would also make sure that we redeem ourselves on the balance that we promised you.
Now, former Ghana international Daniel Parry has backed the Black Stars to advance beyond the group stage of the tournament. According to him, the team has enough quality to advance from the group, which includes England, Panama, and Croatia.
It'll be difficult, but trust me, you know, this football, anything can happen. Like I said, you know, me, I really believe in these boys. Like the talent, there is no doubt. So they can go out there and really make things happen. They can surprise. Like people will really like look down, like they will really surprise you. Yeah. Yeah. You know, sometimes it takes an individual to change the whole game. You know, so if they keep up to that mentality, like we are here to play, we are here to win, we are here to build ourselves for the future. Yeah. You know, with that one spirit, you know, I think that they are capable of doing anything. Yeah. You know.
What would be in your head? What do you think would be the ideal capacity of this team? Like, how far do you think they can go if everything works out?
For me, my expectation for them is to get out from the group stage. If we are able to get out from the group stage, we have a good chance to at least win 1 or 2 matches again. Yeah. You know, wow. But I'll be really happy to see them get out from the group stage. Yeah. that will really make me happy, because then that means that we are starting to build a team. That means that they are really aware now, and then you understand. So, but for me, there is no doubt. I really believe in them. I think they are fantastic talents in there that can be really showcased. Yeah.
Well, let's do some athletics now. And Ghana's men's 4x100 relay team will be chasing a 4th consecutive World Championship appearance when they compete at the World Relays in Botswana this weekend. Well, Dino Kranti has been following the team and assessing their chances at the tournament to be hosted in Botswana.
Well, Netherlands going smoothly on the inside as well.
After last year's historic outing at the World Championships, where they set a new national record, Ghana's men's 4x100 relay team returned to action this weekend at the World Relays in Botswana with hopes of securing qualification for next year's World Championships in Beijing. Ghana had initially named a 5-man squad for the competition, but that team has now been reduced to 4 after Isaac Botsio withdrew due to school commitments. The quartet of Benjamin Azamati, Joseph Paul Amwa, Abdul Rashid Saminu, and Ibrahim Fuseni will be aiming to make history once again by qualifying for a 4th consecutive World Championships. Azamati has shown strong form this season, including a wind-assisted 9.96 seconds at the Mount Sac Grand Prix. Team captain Joseph Paul Amwa, who has mainly focused on the 100 meters so far this season, has also delivered impressive performances and recently beat teammate Azamati to win the Cal State 100-meter Classic. The competition will mark the first outdoor appearance of national 100-meter record holder Abdul Rashid Saminu, who has already posted a lifetime best of 6.54 seconds in the indoor 60-meter dash this year. Fuseni has also opened his outdoor campaign in fine style at the 44 Farms Invitational in Texas, clocking 10.19 seconds in the 100 meters and 20.45 seconds in the 200 meters. Ghana will be hoping to combine their individual quality for the collective success of the team when the competition gets underway. Team Ghana is scheduled to compete in the men's 4x100 meter qualifying round on Saturday, May 2nd from 1:30 p.m. Ghana time.
Finish from the Japanese trying to get themselves through to the final. Ghana salute across the line. Similarly, perfection there from the Ghanaians.
Well, meanwhile, the Ahafo Regional Director of the TVET service, Seth Asari Bediako, is challenging national coaches and league scouts to look beyond traditional academies and turn their attention to technical schools. Now, speaking at the close of the 2025-26 Regional TVET Sports Championships in Bechim, he declared that the region's technical institutions are brimming with professional-grade talent in both soccer and athletics. Well, Emmanuel Agyeman-Rawlings was there and has more in this report.
The Bechim School for the Blind and Deaf and Nana Fosuji Abo Park became a scouting ground for the untapped. The championship, featuring 12 technical institutions from across the Ahafo region, aimed to select a powerhouse regional team for upcoming national competitions. Seth Asali Bediako, the Ahafo Regional Director of TVET Service, used the closing ceremony to remind the sporting world that TVET students offer more than just hands-on technical skills.
And it's not only hands-on jobs that we teach or learn, but rather a lot of them have also gotten talent when it comes to sports. During the athletics, the first 2 days, we will now have a regional team that will go and exhibit a high level of professionalism at the national championship.
He is entreating coaches of lower divisions and national teams to direct their scouting lines here.
I will plead with the coaches in the Division 2 and the Premier League that when it comes to talents, TVET institutions in Ahafo have also gotten a lot of it, and therefore we will entreat them to visit us during our games to the Minister of Education that TVET institutions, we are not there only for hands-on jobs, but we also harness a lot of soccer and athletics talents, and therefore anytime they hear of us, they should come to our aid and also assist us.
Mr. Asali Bediako solicited the support of the Ministry of Sports and Recreation for standard pitches and logistics to take these students to the next level.
I would like to make a special plea to the Minister of Education that we get a lot of our schools having natural parks that will help us train and build up these talents that we have in our various institutions.
With the regional team now being formed, the focus shifts to whether national selectors will heed the call and give these technical students a shot at the professional stage. Emmanuel Edujemfi, Joy News, Bichim.
Yeah, that was a report by my colleague Emmanuel Edujemfi there. Well, let's do some tennis now, because some of Ghana's tennis team are currently in London, engaged in the International Table Tennis Federation World Team Table Tennis Championship Finals, which is currently underway in London. And the national women's team, the Black Loopers, now in action at the global showpiece. And three players, Eva Adom Amankwa, Juanita Bote and Emerald Bote, are all representing Ghana at the championship. And Ghana has already kicked off its campaign with an opening match against Angola, marking an important start as they aim to make a strong impression in the competition. Joining me via Zoom now is Nathaniel Kwesi Sumwa, is head of communication for the Ghana Table Tennis Association, for some quick update on how the team has been performing so far. Emmanuel, thank you very much for making time to join us all the way from London. Tell us, how has Team Ghana been faring at the tournament so far?
Thank you very much. Today we played against Angola. Unfortunately, we lost 2-3 to them. We've had a couple of challenges. Our teams got their visa very late, so the three players left Accra yesterday and arrived just this morning, and we had to settle them in their hotel, and they rested for about 2 hours, went to warm up for 30 minutes, but they managed to play Angola, but they lost. Luckily today, two of our players, our top seed, Cynthia Kwabi and our fourth seed, Augustina Beidi, they got their visas today, so they are also flying out of Ghana today to come and join the team in London tomorrow. So we've had a bit of a technical challenge. We had planned a training camp for them in China for a month, but unfortunately the politics happening in Iran and co prevented us from going. And also because of logistic challenges that we had, we couldn't have the full set to play. But I mean, they've done well. Juanita Bote is a young player. She's an upcoming player. She's gone to China for training. She's picking up. We are training her to become the next Ethel Jacks. The other player, Emerald Bote, who also played, is also a young player, a cadet player, and now in the national team. And the idea is to build these players for the future. In July, we are going to have Africa Youth Championships and African Cup, and they are going to be the backbone of the team. And we are also preparing for the Youth Olympic Games in Senegal. So even though we've lost, we are not that much bothered by the experience that they are gaining, playing alongside the seniors in these World Championships, where the best of the best meet, is an important grooming ground for them. So I can say that they've done well, looking at the fact that they've gone through series of challenges. They've done really, really well, and we must commend them for their effort.
I mean, what matches are remaining for them in the competition? Okay,
so tomorrow at 10 a.m. UK time, that will be 9 a.m. Ghana time, we are going to play with Austria. And Austria is a very good team, and our players are poised for that particular match. I mean, they've been training for them for a long time, and we are going to have a very good match. Now that we have our top seed, Cynthia Kwabi and Augustina Beidou, coming to join Eva Adoma Mankwa and the rest, we are going to have a good match. And we just want to thank the Ministry of Sports and Recreation for supporting us, the Ghana High Commission here headed by Her Excellency Sabah Zita Benson. They have done well, and all the agencies in Ghana, Foreign Affairs, they've really, really done well for us. At a point, we knew we weren't going to get a team to qualify, to come for the tournament, but they put in their effort, and luckily, all of our players have their visas, and I mean, we have a full squad. So, I mean, it's been a good time for the players. Aside playing, what we are also doing is we are looking for opportunities for the players. There's a training camp in Sweden in May that we are trying to get opportunities for the kids to go and play. And we are also we are looking for a new sponsorship, kids sponsorship and equipment sponsorship at this championship. So it's not only about playing, it's about getting kids sponsorship and also getting training opportunities for our umpires and training opportunities for our players and coaches. So, I mean, the World Championships, we are benefiting, even though we haven't done well on the table. Outside of the table, we are doing well there.
Well, Emmanuel, thank you very much. And we're wishing you and the rest of the team the very best of luck. And I'm sure we'll be in touch as the competition progresses. Well, that's Emmanuel Somwa.
Thank you. The name is Nathaniel Kwesi Somwa.
Nathaniel. Beg your pardon, Nathaniel Kwesi Somwa. So all the best to you and the young lads representing Ghana there. Well, just some more quick updates. Former England international Ashley Young has announced he is retiring from playing at the age of 40. Now, Ashley Young started out at Watford before going on to play for Aston Villa, Manchester United, Inter Milan, Everton, starting as a winger before becoming a fullback. Now, he ends his career at Ipswich Town, having joined the club on a one-year deal July last year.
Everything, to be honest. You know, it's a boy's dream to be able to make as a professional footballer, but then to actually achieve and win trophies. You know, that's been the main thing for me from the time I started playing, was to be able to look back on a career that, you know, I've been able to enjoy success. So you know, I've been able to do that. I've been delighted with that. But like I say, you know, I knew I was going to have to come to this decision at some point. You know, I'm not getting any younger. My body's starting to talk to me now as well. So you know, to be able to go out on my own terms is the main thing for me. But like I say, I know I've announced that now, but you know, for me, my focus is solely on getting this club promoted and getting back to the Premier League. I've enjoyed my time a lot. Unfortunately for me this season, injuries have put me out of action since, you know, late part of January, which has been a bit of a disappointment for me, because, you know, I want to be out there on the pitch, being able to help. And you know, when you're in the gym and you're trying everything you can to get yourself back on the pitch, it's tough when you're injured.
Well, let's turn attention to Germany now and connect with my colleague Thomas Sparrow, who is with our partner station DWTV for the latest in the Bundesliga coming this weekend. Thomas, good to have you. I mean, tell us very quickly, I mean, it's the first against the last coming this weekend. Bayern Munich have got a big game against Heidenheim. It follows their loss to PSG, and even ahead of their second leg game against PSG coming Tuesday. Tell us about it. It seems like an easy match for the champions. However, they've got to dig deep.
Well, it seems, but for Bayern, the match will be about improving their already stunning season. They will want to score as many goals as possible. They've already netted a Bundesliga record of 113, and they will want to continue with their winning streak. They've only lost once this season so far. They're already crowned champions and are mostly focusing on completing the treble of Bundesliga, German Cup and Champions League. The match, therefore, against Heidenheim is arguably more important for Heidenheim, since they desperately need the 3 points against the champions to realistically have any chance of staying in the Bundesliga. Heidenheim's performances have indeed improved in recent weeks, with 2 draws, 2 wins from their past 5 games. But playing against such a powerful Bayern could prove to be too big of a challenge for the bottom-placed team. Heidenheim not only needs to win, but they also depend on other teams not performing well, especially Wolfsburg and St. Pauli. So it does seem like a massive challenge for Heidenheim, not only beating the champions, but more broadly staying up in the Bundesliga next season.
Interestingly, you've also got Leverkusen and Leipzig, who are battling for European qualification, also locking horns this weekend. What can we expect in that game?
We can expect an important match, maybe even an exciting match. Leipzig have been in a very good form recently. 5 consecutive wins and 7 out of their last 10 matches. They've already secured qualification to a European competition for next season, and that in itself is an improvement compared to the previous term, where Leipzig had actually missed out on Europe for the first time in their top-flight history. Meanwhile, Leverkusen's form has not been as good as Leipzig's. They did win last weekend against Cologne away in the so-called Rhine Derby, but they've only managed 3 victories in their past 10 games. And that is a somewhat disappointing run for the club in their hope to achieve a Champions League spot at the end of the season. After losing to Bayern Munich in the German Cup semi-finals, this, securing a Champions League spot, remains the last challenge that Leverkusen have. And to get there, they will not only have to face Leipzig, but also another direct competitor when it comes to European football qualification, Stuttgart. So all in all, not an easy end to the season for Leverkusen, even though if they don't get the results they want, they'll still end up with Europa League qualification as a consolation prize.
Well, let's talk about the relegation battle, because the bottom teams are also trying to stay alive. Wolfsburg is in there, St. Pauli is in there. I mean, tell us, the relegation battle is also proving to be very interesting, isn't it? And what is likely to happen this weekend?
Interesting indeed. We already mentioned Heidenheim's huge challenge when they face champions Bayern. Heidenheim seem all but certain to be relegated for next season. But the focus will also be on how other two teams perform, St. Pauli and Wolfsburg. They are only separated by 1 point, favoring St. Pauli. And it's very likely that one of these two teams will go down directly and the other will end up playing the so-called relegation playoff. That's a playoff against the third-placed team from the second division. St. Pauli will be playing this coming weekend against Mainz at home, while Wolfsburg arguably have a more difficult encounter when they travel to Freiburg, who sit in the top half of the league. Freiburg, however, have lost their last two matches against Stuttgart in the German Cup semi-final and Dortmund in the Bundesliga. So what all this tells us is that the relegation battle is one to watch closely in this last part of the season. There are only 3 matches left, 9 points that are vital for these teams, Heidenheim, St. Pauli and Wolfsburg, that actually hope they'll continue to play in Germany's top league at least for 1 more year.
Thank you very much for your time tonight. And Thomas is with our partner station, DWTV, joining us all the way from Berlin, Germany, for the latest and what's happening in the Bundesliga come this weekend. Well, that's all we have for you tonight. We've got more stories on myjoyonline.com. Please head there and stay informed. My name is Razak Musbaw, and it's been a pleasure.
America gave me my first job. I remember one kid who walked into my class and looked and said, "You are from Africa, right?" And I said, "Yes, that's why you are so black." And the guy is blacker than me. I was in the process of finishing the third school when NADMO came to America, and after he saw who I was, asking me if I was willing to come back to Ghana to help him change the education system. Our transition system as a government is probably one of the poorest in the world. This disaster that happened, we may have thousands of students whose life has come to an end. We used to pay the teachers to teach extra classes to prepare the students. This government discontinued paying the teachers.
Are there any regrets, anything you wish you could have done better?
Actually, I have no regrets.
Imagine a family without a home. Imagine a song without a voice. Imagine a church without prayers. Imagine a government without citizens. Imagine democracy without journalists. Imagine a world without the media. Life is full of issues and stories about people, communities, and governments. Stories that have to be told by well-trained journalists. That's why you can't imagine news without Joy News.
So GG Brass, the foundation.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Joy Business Roundtable. Here we try to get the issues that matter to you, especially your pocket. And while headline figures point to steady GDP growth, easing inflation, and gains driven by exports in the extractive sector, the benefits appear uneven on the ground. Farmers face payment delays, industry growth remains sluggish, and services-led expansion is not translating into jobs or productivity. The key question is whether these economic gains reflect genuine progress or a narrow rebound that is yet to impact producers, traders, and manufacturers. Today on the Joy Business Roundtable discussion on the topic, Mahama at 18 months, do economic narrative match real sector outcomes? We will interrogate the numbers and identify the practical policy and strategic interventions required to ensure that macroeconomic progress translates into sustained growth. And that's why we're having this Mahama at 16 months, looking at the achievements so far and how that can translate into your pocket. Now, if you're listening to us on Joy 99.7 FM and streaming online via YouTube and all our social media platforms, this is what we call the Joy Business Roundtable discussion, a policy-oriented platform to examine how economic gains can be effectively transmitted into tangible, real sector outcomes. My guests are Frederick Emisa. He's technical advisor at the Ministry of Finance. Mark Bedu-Abwaji, CEO of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Economist Professor Ejapoma Jeche Dako. Yao Apialate is partner financial advisory at Deloitte Ghana. CEO of Delex Finance, Joe Jackson, will also be here, and Joseph Paddy, Vice President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA.
Miss you guys. For every sacrifice.
Hey, darling.
Close your eyes, baby. Every silent prayer.
Wow.
Thank you for being a wonderful moment.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll love it.
She gave her all. Now it's your turn to give back something precious.
For everything you are and all things you do. Happy Mother's Day, love.
Oh, thank you.
This Mother's Day, celebrate her with something as precious as she is. Gold board jewelry, pure, precious, proudly Guinean.
Guys, do you remember Black Friday last year? The crowd, the excitement, the unbelievable deals. CompuGhana went all out, and you loved every second of it. Well, guess what? On 1st May, we are doing it again for all cherished workers. The vibe, the discount, the savings. That's why we call it May Day Mega Friday. This May, we celebrate you, the best worker, the hustler, the backbone of Ghana, with discount up to 70% off. Yes, you heard it right. CompuGhana is doing it the CompuGhana way. One day only. Do not think, just shop. All products from phones to laptops, printers, TVs, fridges, air conditioners, and everything you need to upgrade your home and hustle. But it's only on 1st May. One day, if you miss it, it's gone. So, rush to any CompuGhana showroom nationwide this Friday or shop online at CompuGhana.com. You can call us on 0302-752020 or WhatsApp 0243-143-143. See you on May Day Mega Friday.
Tee up someone in red, and it goes to
That's who goal is for. I got 5 champions league. You want to know? I be the real goat, chairman. I be the real goat. The left magician.
Who is the goat? Ghana Jollof or Nigeria Jollof?
Ghana Jollof has no co-equal. The smell alone. Oh my God. No, that shift. You two they lie, eh? Now the same stew when they use cook the rice and then they go put them for top. You are lying. Ghana Jollof.
And you this year, forget everybody. Yeah.
My guy.
Put some respect on the goat.
On the goat. The only goat I know lives in Tama.
Every year, we dey give to you back.
We are talking about BET. I want to hear the face.
Except be the goat, huh?
My guy, him be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alumo Bitters always brings us together. Alumo, experience greatness in every moment.
Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18, nor recommended to pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back to a business roundtable discussion. We've assembled some of the finest brains we can have in the country when it comes to the economy to help us understand, what are the gains? How do we make sure that all of us are really getting the benefit of the gains in the economy? Joining us in studio today, we have Frederick Emisa. He's a technical advisor at the Ministry of Finance. Fred, good morning to you. Great. I hope that you help us understand what's happening at the ministry.
We'll try.
And to see how we can all benefit from it.
Yes.
Okay. Joe Jackson is someone who has been in the area for some time. He's been there a long time, right? He's the CEO of Delex Finance. And when it comes to the economy, the good and bad, he knows. He's been speaking about it for a long time. Uncle Joe, good morning.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Good to have you. We have here Apia Latte, his partner, financial advisory, Juliet Ghana. He is joining us on Zoom, so we'll join him later. Professor Japoma Jekedako. Did I get your name right?
Jekedako.
Jekedako, okay. She's an economist with the University of Ghana Business School. Good to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
Mark Bedu Abuaje is CEO, Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Good morning.
Morning.
All good?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then inside.
You there inside. And then we go to the trader, Joseph Paddy. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
All good?
Yes, very good.
Okay.
So far, so good.
Okay. Let me start with Prof. Prof, 1 year, 4 months or 16 months of the John Mahama administration, John Mahama II. What will you say have been the gains in the economy?
Right. So, first of all, I'll say that we have moved from managing crisis to a point where we are actually managing recovery. And I say this on the basis that macroeconomic stability has largely been successful, but then maybe the transmission of that success to, should I say, households and firms is what is taking some time. Even that, I think that some firms are experiencing some large successes. Now, the game changer here has been the exchange rates, in my opinion. The stability that we are experiencing with the exchange rate has changed everything. Because if you think about it carefully, looking at the Iran and the American war, yes, because of that, the Strait of Hormuz has been closed, etc. But we are not really feeling the pain that we would have felt if the exchange rate was troubled in a way. And so I would say that the exchange rate stability has been the game changer. And we know that for the first time since, I think, 1994, we've seen an appreciation of the exchange rate. We saw it in 2025 of about 41%. And year on year, in 2026, we are seeing roughly about 27%. And this is largely being driven by the gold purchase program, I would say, where Bank of Ghana has been able to build quite a lot of reserves. Close to about 6 months of import cover is what we have currently. And I think that this has ensured credibility. It has also kept speculative activities because Bank of Ghana is able to, should I say, intermediate easily because it's built some reserves. Now, this same exchange rate stability has helped in inflation control, right? So the spiral in inflation that we have been seeing, it's actually gone down. We now have inflation around about 3.2% or so, which is extremely good for us because at least prices are stable. Bank of Ghana activities in terms of open market operations have also been very helpful, although that has come at a cost. And I believe that no policy intervention comes without a cost. And that was necessary, that cost in addressing the inflationary pressures that we had in terms of mopping up excess liquidity from the economy was very, very crucial. And so, I mean, if you think about it, with exchange rate stable, with inflation also down to about 3%, at least there's some certainty in the environment. Businesses are able to plan, households even are able to plan. So there have been some gains.
If you listen to all that Prof has given, it means something positive is happening. Behind the what we can all see, how really did the ministry and the government do this? Just in a minute.
Thank you very much. You can see that Prof was trying to let us know, or was stopped short of praising the government for the economic miracle that we have experienced. And I would love to say a miracle because all these have been achieved in 1 year. If you look at the numbers, how they've been turned around, I mean, from day to night. And let me give you a bit of background. It doesn't happen. You know, if you listen to the Dr. Atufossen's, vetting, he mentioned 3 things that will be his focus: exchange rates, prices, jobs. And one thing he said was that he was going to move from the overconcentration of macroeconomy to the microeconomy. But the path to the impacts on the microeconomy is through macro stability. That is what we are experiencing now. The first thing we did was to stabilize the economy. I mean, the figures are there. I don't want to bore you with those figures. But a lot of the talk now is about what has been the impacts on the individual, on the household, on the businesses. Guta and the chamber will tell you, Ghana reference rates, which is the proxy for determining how banks are willing to lend to their best of customers, was hovering around 30% at the end of the year. As we speak, it is 10%. Businesses are now...
So that 1 minute is almost done.
No, what I'm trying to say is that businesses, the effect is that we are having businesses borrowing at a cheaper cost.
Okay.
Households are experiencing lower prices. You see, even though inflation is still positive, last year, Guta presented a paper to Parliament. Over 4,000 items have seen reduced prices. Prices actually reducing. Of course, inflation is a composite. So the impact is that we are actually experiencing reduced prices. And you can tell when you go and buy fuel at the pump.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Let me bring you Joe Jackson. Joe, I mean, let's look at what is happening. Your intro remarks in a minute about the economy, 16 months on.
Let's all be clear here. The fact that the numbers have improved is not in dispute. And so what we have seen is stabilization. And what we are asking is, have we moved beyond stabilization? Because stabilization is not an end to itself. It must transmit into better livelihoods. But what is also happening is not strange, because it takes time to move from stabilization to transformation. So maybe this whole discussion should be around, are we seeing deliberate moves, intentional events that will lead us to believe that this translation from stabilization to transformation is happening? That's really, because if you talk about jobs, that's the weakest link. We are still not creating enough jobs for the young people of this country. We're not even creating enough jobs. So for me, the question really is, what is being done on transformation.
Okay.
Everybody has to, unless you are really the witch, you can't help but say this government has achieved stabilization.
Okay, all right.
Then that is almost now a given. We've accepted that. We've given them credit for that, and nobody can take that away. The only question is, what is being done for transformation? Because stabilization in itself was not the end game.
For businesses, stability is very critical for everything that we do. And on that score, looking at numbers, I think there have been positive and significant improvement in the macroeconomic indicators. I think that is not accidental, it's not just by chance. I have seen more deliberate and policy coordination between the monetary policy and the fiscal policy. We also have the external conditions also favoring us. So in terms of the numbers, we have done well. I mean, to drop inflation from where it was to 3.2, you need a high level of commitment. And of course, we've also seen a significant drop in the policy rate from 28 to 14%. Interest rate is coming down, but we still think that is very high. Okay. And when we are having this discussion, because we operate in an international market, we're integrated internationally, we should be able to compare ourselves to our peers, people that we are competing with. Because businesses, we don't produce only for Ghanaians. We produce for the external market. So we are competing with products coming from other regions. In fact, if you look at our Francophone neighbors, their policy rate is 3.2. There could be an explanation for that because they tie their monetary policy conditions to that of France and other indicators. But they are the ones we are competing with. If their policy rate is that low, and their interest rate is that low, and you are, of course, we've seen a reduction. You are paying, they say, 17.5. That is fine. But we still think that is very high. He made mention of the Ghana reference rate and always want to link it to the inflation rate. If you have a reference rate of 11 point something or so, 10%, and your inflation is at 3.2, I still see a mismatch in there. I want to see a very closer relationship between the inflation and the lending rate. Okay. Of course, exchange rate, as you said, is very significant. Okay. It's still a very critical role. Right. Look at all the numbers that we experience now.
We'll get into the nitty-gritties of the whole issues yet, but let me come to you, Mr. Paddy, for 1 minute.
Oh, yes. I think the economic condition we find ourselves now is healthy for businesses. Yes, it helps you to do projection. It also gives you predictability. Unlike once upon a time where it's difficult to project. And as a business, if you're not able to do projection, you'll be out of business. So it's a healthy condition, healthy for us because of the stability of the cedi against the major currencies, where every morning you wake up in the morning, tomorrow the dollar is 12 against the cedi. The next 3 to 4 hours is changed. So, but this one has given us a way to do projection. This stability is healthy for businesses. Okay. So, as a result of that, we'll come to other factors too that we think is helping businesses, and then we'll see the way forward. But so far, so good. Business community, we've seen some signal stability, and we are plowing back those gains into our business again.
Oh, yeah. I'm told you do have some presentation of a story you want to show us. So I'll give you 3 minutes to do that for us, and then we can come back into the studio.
Okay, so thank you very much. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can.
Yes. So I'll set the conversation in context, and I like the preliminary comments that has come from the panel. Good morning to you, your cherished listeners and viewers as well. So some of the key developments that we've seen are positive. But the question, and I think the question that we need to answer is, how has this translated into the lives of businesses, households, and then, let's say, industries? So we've seen good indications like the inflation rate now at 3.2%, GDP growth, continued disinflation, the Ghana interbank reference rate, as in the reference rate for interest rate that you charge on loans and advances, and then stabilization of the cedi. I think the question we need to ask ourselves is, have we built a robust and resilient economy? And I think the last few months, what has happened, particularly with the global development and its effect on Ghana, has come to ask us the biggest question, whether we built a stable economy, but is it resilient? And so yes, the indicators are looking good. If you look at where the government took off from 2024, all the parameters, GDP growth, 5.7, they took off from 5.7, they ended 2025 at 6%. And also, major indicators like inflation, they took off from 23.8%, and currently, or they ended 2025 at inflation of 5.4% and now 3.2%. Also, gross international reserves, they took off from 9.1 billion gross international reserves. They ended 2025 at 13.8 billion, and today it's about 14.5 billion. That's a remarkable improvement. Debt to GDP ratio, they took off from 61.8% of GDP. They ended 2025 at 45.3%. So that's a significant reduction, even better than the benchmark that was set for us by the IMF at 55%. Same trade surplus, they took off from 3.7 billion. As at 2025, trade surplus was 13.7 billion. So these are very good indicators. Now, if you look at the growth rates, this is the question that we need to ask ourselves. We have recorded remarkable growth rate of averagely 6% in the last 4 or 5 quarters of the year. So from 2025 to date, so the last 4 quarters, we've recorded a growth rate of approximately 6%. Now, where is the growth rate coming from? The growth is coming from mainly and largely services sector. So the significant drivers of growth are information and communication, financial services, transport and storage. Look at the first quarter of 2025, same, the 3 sectors, information technology, financial services, transport sector. If you go to the second quarter, information technology, education, health, and financial services. If you go to the third quarter of 2025, information technology, transportation, and a few in growth and fashion. Information technology, transportation, education, same. The sectors that have lagged or that have contracted, which are the key drivers of economic growth, are 1, water and sewage. Electricity, water, construction are the key drivers of growth. So if you have challenges with electricity, if you have challenges with water, if you have challenges in the construction sector, your growth will lag. So we contracted by 3.7% in the first quarter of 2025. We contracted, same in the forestry and logging sector, by 2.5%.
Let me bring you Joe Jackson here, because if we are making gains, but it's not leading to the sectors where the jobs will be created, then there's a problem. How do we solve it? Or what is really accounting for the growth happening, but they're not happening in the critical sectors that can give us the jobs?
Now, one of the things that has delivered our growth has been discipline. Iron discipline on the part of our fiscal, on our Ministry of Finance. And listen, it is admirable. But the problem with this discipline is that it actually also mitigates against the kind of job growth that you are looking for. Because what we've delivered, listen, if inflation has come down, I would tell you that the biggest driver has been the improvement in the
exchange rate.
exchange rate. If the reference rates have come down, it is the iron discipline exercised when we go to borrow money, not taking more than we actually need and not taking it at a rate higher than we've predetermined. So in truth, that's why stabilization is important, and we've heard over and over again everybody say the stability helps businesses. But there's also tension between what has created that stability and the real things that will drive increased employment. I can plan better, but do I plan to employ more people? I can know what is happening. I can admire the fact that we've had a significant external shock in the closing of the Strait of Hormuz. But has that, resisting that shock, what has this done for other things that we could do. Everybody is complaining. Contractors are not getting paid. The government is not spending as much money as it could. Now, that expenditure will help drive jobs.
But government says it is spending in the right areas.
Obviously, and listen, I'm a fiscal hawk. I believe in spending within your means and borrowing only when it is absolutely necessary for investment.
When you look at what's happening and why they say you're not creating the jobs, why do you think that is so? Because you're borrowing at a cheaper rate, and so that your savings, you translate into you employing more people. Why is it not happening?
Well, so the transmission mechanism takes some time, moving from the macro to the micro. Now we've done the macro. It's about time we move to the micro. The numbers that we have seen are all critical. They are all good. But there are also structural issues that must be addressed before we transition from the macro to the micro. That structural issues are still persisting. Okay. That's the reason why we are not seeing this. Now, if you see inflation that we have now, largely a lot of it came from the monetary side, which requires that there should be some level of contraction. So to speak, Bank of Ghana assume there is a lot of money in the system and is mopping up liquidity, which means that the purchasing power of an ordinary person largely will go down. It means so businesses would want to produce, they want people to buy. As people say, there's no money in our pocket. So we produce, and the rate at which we want people to buy, they are not buying because there's no money. So that contraction, of course, will affect demand for goods and services. Okay. And let's also understand that every macroeconomic or every economic policy comes with a cost. So we need to ask ourselves, do a cost-benefit analysis and ask, is the inflation that we have at 3.2, is it good for production? That's why Bank of Ghana has a target, not lower than like 8 plus or minus, lower than 6%, because you need some certain level of inflation to stimulate economic activity.
I'll bring in Prof and Joseph later, but let me go to Finance Ministry. Now, you've listened to industry and the finance guys. The industry especially says that because of the cost of power, for example, we're not able to then compete with the imported goods. And I know what's happening in the rice industry, for example. You produce rice in Ghana, people are not buying it, they are buying the imported ones. What's the Ministry of Finance doing to ensure that that is dealt with to create the needed jobs we need?
I think one thing everybody will agree on this table is that there is significant improvements in the economic figures and everything, and we also agree that there is naturally a lag between when the impact is felt at the micro level. The path to micro impact goes through macro stability. There is no way you can sort of want to impact the lives of your people at the micro level, businesses, firms, individuals, without first stabilizing the economy. So what we did first was stabilize the economy, which stability we are all experiencing. Granted that there is more to be done. I won't sit here and say that we have solved our unemployment problem, no. But the data bears us out that there has been a marginal improvement in employment. I won't say that we have solved our the cost of doing business problem, but producer price inflation has seen a significant reduction. I mean, now in the single numbers. I wouldn't also say that... But
did you hear him when it came to the locally produced...
I did. Yeah. You see, it is the impact we are talking about. It is also where we are coming from. You see, we are getting used, and I'm happy because we are getting used to this stability that we are demanding more. We are demanding more. And sometimes too, when businesses have been battered for so long with inconsistent policies, with macroeconomic instability, when stability happens for over a year, they all want to do a wait-and-see attitude and say that, is this going to last? So we are in that period, that transition period between businesses getting used to the fact that this is the new state of the Ghana economy as opposed to what was being experienced in the past. One thing I would like to say is that we talk about industry, manufacturing, the growth rates and all those things and how it translates to jobs and all those things. Yes, in the days ahead, you see that we are also going to roll out other policies that would ensure that we concretize the stability we have experienced or we have delivered and launch into other transformative programs.
I'll come back to you. Let me bring in Prof now. Prof, some people have said, well, it looks like the gains in macro are sort of artificial because the appreciation of the city was too fast. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I don't want to really buy into the fact that the gains are artificial. Okay. No. Because, you see, we had a natural resource like gold. And, of course, the prices of gold are rising on the world market. It's important for you to take advantage of that increase in price and use it to support your economy. Mm. So, for example, if you have an institution like Gold Board trying to curb smuggling and then mobilize the gold that it can mobilize to sell on the international market, to be able to get some forex to help stabilize the city, for example, I don't see that to be artificial. Okay. This is not to say that those structural issues that we have in the economy, we should not be addressing, because there are also risks when it comes to being reliant on the commodity market. Mm. And so if today gold prices went down, then we are going to be in trouble. Cocoa prices have started dwindling, and that might even affect the amount of forex that is coming in. Mm. And therefore, the concentration that we need to put on ensuring that we retain the stability that we have should be there. So those structures that we think about all the time, we should try and use this time when we are making those gains to put those structures in place. Okay. And by the structures, I'm talking about many things. Dr. Jackson and I were already talking about the retention policy, where we have to go back and look at it again and make sure that repatriation of profits, we deal with that properly so that our forex can come in. We do export, but like I was saying, we are mostly reliant on primary products. How are we thinking about, because like it was presented not too long ago by Yaolate, our growth is being driven by the services sector. And if you think about it, ICT driving the growth means that we are having there's some sort of low-scale jobs there, low wages, etc. If we really want to be thinking about growth, then we need to be thinking about the industrial sector, particularly manufacturing. What are we putting in place to ensure that manufacturing sector is going to be thriving? This is why Mr. Abuaje was talking about having a conducive environment, right, so that businesses can also thrive in those environments. So I think that the macro is good, but we need to move one step ahead. That transmission will take from 6 to 12 months to happen. I think we are...
6 to 12 months?
Yes, about...
beyond 16 months, or it should be...
Beyond, I'm thinking about beyond 16 months.
So 12 months beyond the 16 months?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that is when we should be looking at whether those gains are going to be sustained or not. So for me, that is my opinion. Let's give it some time for the transmission to occur. Economic gains the micro gains will come in if things remain the way they are currently, but it needs time to translate.
But how would the 24-hour economy policy have influenced this? I mean, that was a key policy that the John Mahama campaign gave Ghanaians. If, say, it was implemented about 3-4 months when they came into office, how would it have helped in all that we are discussing, especially in job creation?
Well, it would have greatly helped, but like I'm saying, having a 24-hour economy cannot happen overnight. Okay. You need to put certain measures in place. For example, your macro environment should be stable. At the time, this government took over, I mean, our macros were not really looking good. And of course, that had to be stabilized before any such intervention could happen. And so if you think about the fact that you are going to be having a successful, for example, 24-hour economy, the first thing you should think about is whether there's even going to be demand for the products that the firms are going to be producing, right? So if a firm, for example, thinks that, and Mr. Abaje will tell you, that if he doesn't think that there's going to be demand for his product, there's absolutely no way he's going to be producing and producing for 24 hours, because that is going to be adding up to the cost. So a stable macro environment is the first point, where maybe if inflation was low, people's purchasing power would be high. There'll be demand for products, and then firms can also go ahead and then produce and then now employ more people. That's the first thing. We also need to think about the infrastructure. We are currently struggling with electricity. We hear that it's being worked on. We can't have a successful 24-hour economy when there's inadequate supply of electricity. And so this 24-hour economy happening 3 months was going to be impossible. Okay. But I agree with you that once it occurs, then jobs can be created.
Okay, let me bring you Mr. Paddy now. Mr. Paddy, so you listen to the producers, they say that once some element have not come down, they cannot also then produce at a certain rate. But according to him, the Queen Mother says prices are coming down. So what is influencing the reduction? Because the local producers are not able to meet the export. What is influencing that, and what can be done for local producers to meet, you know, the prices in the market so they can be competitive?
Exactly. So to be sincere with you, we did a research, and the cost of doing business in the sub-region, Ghana is highest.
Still?
Yeah. Cost of
Which year is this?
Yes, about 3 years ago, we did that research. Its cost of doing business in the country is extremely high. You know, what we do is that when the producers produce, we do the distribution for them. But when there's a shortfall, we go out there looking for the shortfall. And in trying to do so, bringing it down, paying the duties and everything, is still cheaper than that which is produced here. That's the difficulty. So cost of doing business in the country. Why are we losing business to our neighboring countries, like Ivory Coast? Most of factories are moving to Ivory Coast because cost of borrowing there is about 3%. Highest is about 7%. In Ghana, you go and borrow at a certain time, we're borrowing at 35%. No businessman, no one, even those who are into production are now moving into buying and selling. That was a difficulty we found ourselves. And you spoke about this unemployment issue. You see, I believe government responsibility is not to employ. Yes. Government responsibility is to create the enabling environment for the private. We always say private sector is an engine of growth. We say it theoretically, but when it comes to implementation and practical, it's not so. So what should government do to give us enabling environment so that the private sector can rope in more people, so that we can be self-employed, looking at affordable credit. Like my brother said, cheaper electricity. If a young man has finished school and wants to go into production, can he get affordable credit to do business? What are the exemptions area we have here? Can he give him 5 years exemption when he want to go into production? These are some of the things we are looking forward from government. But we do. But most times, when we are talking of unemployment, we look at the public sector. Now you go to one public sector office, about one desk, about 15 people are sitting on there. On one desk. So the public sector is so choked that we are not even looking at the private. What can we do so that the private sector can rope all these unemployed graduates that we've been talking about, so that they can be self-employed? So these are the things we expect government to be doing. Because every business grows on policy. Okay. One good policy can help you grow. So what are government doing to give us those enabling policies and enabling environment? So we have a challenge with producers, not because why will I travel 9 hours, at times 3 days to Japan to go and look for goods to bring to the shortfall? Maybe the quantity demand is about 10,000. Supply in Ghana is about 4,000. There's a shortfall of 6,000. I'll go out there to go and look for that shortfall to complement what they are doing here. And it's still cheaper, far cheaper, at times even 3 times cheaper than that which is produced here. So there's a mismatch. There's a mismatch that we need to bridge the gap. What can we do so producers can be competitive to our neighbors or to their competitors? So when you go out there, you go to Togo and buy something at 2 cities, you come to Ghana, get it. But why is it that you want to borrow in Ghana to go and go into production? I have a brother who wanted to go into production of wall nails, the nails we use for roofing. He bought the machinery, started the production, and the cost of electricity and other factors were so high that he stopped the production and started importing nails from China. So, and he had employed over 120 people. So these are the difficulty we find ourselves as a country. What can government do so that the young one who has come out from school, who says, I'm an entrepreneur, what environment have you created for that young gentleman? Can you go to the commercial banks to go and borrow at a cheaper rate? Now the commercial banks are giving us a rate about 17%, which we think is a little far better than. Even some of the banks have given assurance that they want to even drop it about 6 to 7% interest rate. When it happens, oh yes.
But what is preventing them from doing it?
A little skepticism. They're a little skeptical. They want to see the sustainability. This success that we are talking, is it sustainable? We even the business community, we're even finding it difficult to reduce our goal at a certain time. Because we're looking at, is this sustainable? Is this exchange rate that has dropped so much? Is it sustainable? So let's watch and see attitude. But looking at about 15 months, they've been able to sustain it. So you see that there's a significant reduction of price of goods and services in the market.
So in this reduction, is it influenced by the import or the ones you buy from Mr. Bedu Aboja?
It's influenced by import, to be sincere, because still our producers are still struggling to produce at a certain margin because electricity is high, water is high, and other factors of production are not on their side.
Okay.
So when we go out there, it's still cheaper than that which is produced, to be sincere with you. And that is the challenge we have. Like I was saying, what would be the sense if I have to travel 3 days to Japan to go and look for the one I can get it here? If it's 15 cities here, and I can get it in Japan for 12 cities, I will even want to stay here. Looking at transport fare, your ticket, your hotel bills, and other factors put together, and the time you spend, why would you want to travel? And so what can we do to build the capacity of our producers?
Okay.
So that they can match up and they can be competitive.
Okay.
You know, we have lost ball pen to our neighboring country, Ivory Coast. They've moved from Ghana to Ivory Coast. Oh yes, they are no longer here. They've been to this country. It's cheaper to produce in Ivory Coast than this. I traveled to Ivory Coast and their interest rate was around 3 to 7%.
Okay, all right. Let me bring in Mr. Apia Latte now. I'll bring in Joe Jackson. I'll bring you later. But let me bring in Apia Latte. So you've listened to manufacturers, you've listened to the sellers, you've listened to Prof as well and Joe Jackson too, and the man from the Ministry of Finance. Listening to the trader and the manufacturer, what do you think government should do now? Because from them, if government should find a way to reduce the cost of production, cost of goods produced in Ghana will come down, and that also lead to job creation because they will need more people.
I think the point about transmission mechanism is important because a lot of this stability that we're experiencing now, in some areas, it will take a bit of time for us to see it reflected. There are about 1 or 2 developments in the market or in the economy, which I think is positive and actually going to help a lot of businesses in the past. Because what has happened in the past is that it affected businesses adversely. And now, because of the correction that we've seen in the system, we are going to see the positive impact. The first one is on stability in economic policy and reforms. Historically, at the presentation of any budget and government policy statement, a new tax is introduced or existing tax are amended. That created uncertainty in the business environment. So if we have new tax or a budget presented, you would have e-levy, there will be introduction of VAT, some form of taxes or amendment to existing law. And so businesses were worried about that because what happened at the time was that as soon as a budget is presented, there is a cost that's incurred to recalibrate your system because a new tax has been introduced or an existing tax has been amended. Now, what has happened in the last few years is that there has been stability in government policy, particularly in the fiscal areas or tax reforms. So you don't expect a new tax to be introduced. It is the existing tax laws that are enforced or implemented differently to make them effective. And that's very good, because for businesses, what they don't want is that if you project or you forecast your business to grow by a certain percentage over the next 5 years, when a tax is introduced or a new policy is introduced and it effectively affects your revenue, it means that you are not able to achieve that target. The second thing is government's bold step in removing some tax handles. And I think that was the first government budget that was presented. That sent a positive signal to the business community, and I think we should commend government for that. The third is also about the VAT reforms. Yes, it took a bit longer for the consultation to happen and for government to boldly implement it. But I think it's making our business environment a lot more competitive than what it used to be. Decoupling and then just making it a lot more flexible. Now, you can predict even with certainty that the pass-through effect will not be as massive as it was before. Because if you cannot claim your NHIL and your GET fund that you are paying, what we were doing at the time was to tax on tax.